ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Should be a pretty nice Wednesday today, mostly sunny with a high of 63. Tonight, considerable cloudiness, slight chance of a rain shower and a low of 32. And tomorrow, for your Thursday, considerable cloudiness and a high around 40 degrees. I'm Adam Zellick for 1410 ESPN Radio.
You know how hard it is to be in work while your friends are out on the golf course? I've been getting pictures from friends all day, and I'm like, wait, do my friends have jobs?
PTO days.
What are those? Actually, we know what those are, to be fair. We know what that is.
We cashed ours in back in December.
Did we? But we welcome everybody in. Happy, what is today, a Wednesday? It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. A lot to get into. NFL food for thought coming up around the corner. Again, the Combine all across the news, sports news today. We'll get into that. Wow, Kev, did you know that the Browns talked to a lot of wide receivers today?
Touchdown.
And apparently when people tweet that out, like they think, man, the Browns, they're going to draft him. They're going to draft this guy. They talked to him at the Combine. They talked to everybody. They're going to talk to some quarterbacks, and people are going to make something about that. There's going to be a lot of headlines that come out of a Combine when really what we think is news, or what media thinks is news, or what you think that is news that's being reported is really just what's supposed to happen. The Browns should kick the tires on every wide receiver that is available at that Combine. The Browns should kick the tires on every quarterback, and pretty much there's only a handful of teams in the NFL that should not kick the tires on quarterbacks in the draft. Sometimes it also doesn't hurt to kick the tires on quarterbacks that you may not need now, but come evaluation time later, if you find yourself like a Kyler Murray 3 years into the league, already at odds with his front office, might be looking for a new landing spot, you're going to have these notes and these conversations to base your evaluation of him off. I no overreaction today, but yet I've seen it. I've seen it at the highest levels. I do know that last year the Cincinnati Bengals were kind of docked a little bit because they were they weren't at any of the offensive linemen. Like for the Combine, there wasn't a whole lot of visits with the offensive linemen or anything. So there was that. But either way, but we welcome you in. I wanted to open up with, again, just more fallout from the lockout. And for those of you that missed the conversation with Rob Manfred, the Major League Baseball commissioner, yesterday, here's a brief snippet of him explaining to the media exactly what happened, which led to the first two series of the 2022 baseball season being canceled.
We have listened to the Players Association throughout the process. A primary goal of the Players Association has been to increase pay for younger players. I said in Orlando, and I'll say it again, we agree and share that goal. We offered to raise the minimum salary to $700,000, an increase of $130,000 from last year. We offered to create an annual bonus pool of $30 million for our very best young players. In total, we're offering nearly a 33% raise to almost 2/3 of major league players. And we're adding more than $100 million annually in additional compensation for this younger player group.
That was just a brief clip and snippet from his address to the media yesterday, which, of course, not many people, actually nobody, outside of the owners, were pleased with what transpired yesterday. Maybe that's not a fair assessment. I'm not saying that the owners are thrilled with what happened yesterday, but nobody was pleased with that. Look, the bottom line is Manfred's role is to be the punching bag. Mm-hmm. Like, hell, even Adam Silver, who I think is the most beloved of all the commissioners of professional sports, and that's me, I shouldn't say of all, because I'm not very familiar with the commissioner of the NHL or some of those other professional sports outside of baseball, basketball, football, but the three bigger revenue sports, of course, the highest generated, revenue sports, of course. I look at Adam Silver is probably being the most liked, but he's often been criticized a lot, of course. The first, turbulence that he faced was, of course, going through that pandemic season, and of course, during, with Black Lives Matter and everything, having to deal with the political pushback that came with that. that's the only time I've really heard any kind of pushback go against him. He's been a little bit more liberal with his agenda as far as, loosening the restrictions on testing for marijuana and some of the other things that other sports have been very, locked in on. Other sports have eased up on those too, by the way, but he was one of the first commissioners to really kind of loosen the intensity as far as the focusing in on that and the testing and everything else. So Rob Manfred's not supposed to be liked. For those of you out there that say, he's not likable, I don't like him. You're not supposed to. You're shooting the messenger. The messenger, he represents the owners. It's kind of like Mark Emmert in the NCAA. Have you ever heard anyone say anything positive about Mark Emmert in the end? No. His job is just to basically just go out there every once in a while. It's the commissioners of the Big Ten, the commissioner. They're just the punching bag. Mark Emmert for the NCAA, he's the punching bag for all the bad decisions that are made behind the scenes that he ultimately has more say-so over. But like the Kevin Warrens of the world, right? You look at the SEC commissioner, you look at all those guys. They are the punching bags. They deliver the message that basically was all agreed upon for everyone underneath that umbrella, all the coaches and athletic directors and so on. That's what Rob Manfred's job is. He's just the punching bag. So it is what it is. I don't think he's great at his job. I think he's made a lot of mistakes. I mean, he called the World Series trophy a piece of metal last year or 2 years ago. Not very good. But I wanted to open up with this today because it's one thing to have the players all unified and to come out and voice their displeasure. But Kev, I'm not going to lie to you. Every single one of us have been at positions within our jobs where we have been upset with our bosses. I find it very interesting that these athletes are trying to cry foul or trying to pretend to be victimized here in their sport, all while I've counted 10 different athletes have tweeted out that Rob Manfred is a clown. Imagine being allowed to tweet out that the president of our company is a clown and still be able to keep our jobs. Yeah, they're being held down. They're being victimized. It's just not fair. But it is interesting hearing the athletes speak up and speak out. I have, rather than hearing athletes act like clowns and calling the commissioner a clown, I want to hear from the athletes like, just a view that is not so childish. Mike Trout, best player in Major League Baseball, at least statistically. I don't know if he's the face of Major League Baseball. I don't know if baseball has a face, to be honest with you. I think there could be I don't think that, everyone acts like there has to be a face of a sport. I think baseball's problem is, I don't know, when you say Major League Baseball, what do you think of? If I say NBA, LeBron or Michael Jordan, even who's not even playing anymore, but like that, those names come to your mind. You say the NFL, I mean, the list is a mile long of who could potentially be the face of the NFL. Major League Baseball, I don't think has a face of Major League Baseball. I don't think there is a face of it. But Mike Trout is a heavy hitter, no pun intended. So Mike Trout released a statement. Kudos to Mike Trout for not being a child. Kudos to Mike Trout for releasing a statement and his thoughts on everything, even though I don't agree with everything he put in the statement. I respect it. So Mike Trout, Kev, tweets out about an hour ago that I want to play. I love our game, but I know that we need to get this CBA right. Instead of bargaining in good faith, Major League Baseball locked us out. Instead of negotiating in a fair deal, Rob canceled us. Players stand together for our game, for our fans, and for every player who comes after us. We owe it to the next generation. I can't argue with this. I mean, I semi-disagree. Like, I don't, instead of bargaining in good faith, MLB locked us out. I can counter that and say, well, if they didn't lock you out, you would have gone on strike. Right. Like, there's no way if they can't come to a conclusion. I mean, there was no way you can't have a season without a CBT in place. So for them to say, well, we could just report to camp and they iron this out in the background, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So the strike happened back in the 90s or whatever. We missed the World Series or whatever. Major League Baseball didn't lock them out. So did the players not negotiate in good faith because they went on strike? Like that's the only thing I can circle in that and nitpick it. But I do respect the fact that finally one of the big hitters in Major League Baseball has come out, released a statement. I think that this is more powerful than any of the other weird players coming out and just saying Manfred's a clown. How is that getting anything done or accomplishing this? Mike Trout comes together. When everything goes on in the NBA, whether I don't care what side of the political spectrum you fall on, the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo and an entire team was willing to miss a playoff game or miss a late season, I think it was a playoff game, that the biggest faces of the league were speaking out on things that meant a lot to them. I know that I'm not comparing that to this, but like the heavy hitters of the NBA, they speak on these issues. They speak on things that impact their sport. Baseball just sits back and calls their commissioner clowns. Good for Mike Trout for being an adult. That's something that caught my attention earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, it's not mature. It's not mature at all, man. When you're trying to have labor negotiations and everything like that, you need to have the cooler heads prevail. And when you have guys using clown emojis and calling the guy in charge a clown. You may feel that way, but like that's not going to get anything done. That's not going to help the progress of getting the negotiations figured out. Like, you know what I'm saying? It only causes more rift. And if somebody on the outside of looking in is just checking in and they are already on the ownership side because they just want the games to come across, you're not helping your cause. You're not helping people sway the court of public opinion by calling him a clown. You're only talking to the people that are already on your side. So other players and people of my ilk who are like player guys, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, stand pat, like how Trout did it. It was down the line. It was calculated. It was to the point. It wasn't any extra fluff in there. It wasn't any name calling or anything like that. That's the mature route to go. But unfortunately, there's not a ton of mature people in the world nowadays. Everybody flies off the cuff. You mean you're way more active on Twitter than I am. I can only imagine what you get in your DMs or the replies to your Twitter account half the time. So people fly off the handle, man, and athletes are no different.
So the other thing I hear a lot too about the criticisms of baseball, some of the more tired arguments that they don't promote their stars enough. I don't know what that means, because I know what you're trying to say, but I don't think what you are saying. I don't know if you know what you're saying, because I never hear a solution. What does that mean? They don't promote their stars enough. Well, how many more Subway commercials do they need to be in for that to be counted as promoting their stars? I think that a lot of times, you know, when you want to talk about, you know, promoting the stars of baseball, sometimes I think you need to have stars to promote. I think you need to have guys that have enough charisma to promote. The NBA has stars all over the place. Memphis has one of the biggest stars in the NBA. Cleveland, Ohio, they have a bunch of young guys that have all gelled to create one of the biggest storylines in basketball. And people are talking about Cleveland across the country. We hear in baseball all the time, it's hard for teams like the Guardians and Reds to get the national attention that all the other Major League Baseball teams get because they're small market, or just not marketable enough. Now, Cleveland, of course, back when you had Trevor Bauer and some of those guys, it was a lot easier to promote those guys. You have Francisco Lindor and stars like that like really connected with the fans and that type of deal. But they were never at the level of which you see, of course, an NBA player or an NFL star. I mean, Joe Burrow didn't just captivate the city of Cincinnati. He captivated the entire NFL universe. When's the last time a player in any market in Major League Baseball captivated the entire attention of an entire sport? I can't tell you. Derek Jeter's retirement was the last time that baseball came together for one unified player. That's it. That's the last time. Maybe Mariano Rivera. All right, when he retired, when we were bidding farewell to some of those, you know, big names from the 90s and 2000s, that was the last time. When is the last time a single player captivated the entire attention of a sports fan base at any point? None. Jose Altuve, when we're talking about the cheating, that's the last time a player really kind of got everyone's attention under one umbrella. That's baseball's problem. And I don't think it's because there's not enough Subway commercials for all the baseball players. Like, I just don't understand what people mean when they say that the sport needs to be promoted more. Sometimes it's not just that. So what are you saying? And I'm not trying to get into the debate of men's sports, women's sports, but if you put more WNBA players in a Subway commercial, would more people watch? Oh, they need to promote the women's sport more. Okay, yeah, maybe. But would that necessarily automatically result in higher ratings and more interest? I don't know. So I'm using that same mindset here. I don't think that more people would tune in to the WNBA if they ran more TV ads and more, you know, spots in the paper, more radio ads, more whatever, you know, means of advertising you could think of. I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a little uptick. Maybe you're putting your product in front of more people. Of course, that's the art of advertising. But is it really getting you that ROI that you're hoping for as far as views and eyes on your product? I don't know. So that's what I mean for baseball. When people say they don't promote their sport good enough, what do you mean? What does that mean? What are you suggesting? Because I always say solutions, not problems. It's easy to point at the problems.
Right.
Oh, the problem is they don't promote their sport enough. They don't promote the athletes enough. Well, what do I need to? Mike Trout has been in multiple Subway commercials. If he was walking down the street in Dayton, Ohio today, nobody could point him out. Nobody could point him out. So the solution is what? I don't know what the solution is as far as promoting the sport more, but I do know this. I can't think of one athlete that has captivated the attention of an entire sport fan base in baseball I mean, since when? The last time there was a lockout that had to result in a home run chase that ended up being historic, that saved the league, if you will. Trust me, that's not happening coming out of this lockout. There's going to be no, and people need to stop acting like home runs saved baseball last time. It was the stars that saved baseball last time. It was the Mark McGuires and Sammy Sosas and Barry Bonds of the world. They saved baseball. The stars saved baseball, not the stats. Not the home runs. The chicks dig the long ball. Man, that's why the sport thrived at that time. It was all the home runs. Did you know that the last 4 years, there has been more home runs hit every year the last 4 years than at any point during the steroid era, the peak of what everyone thought was chicks dig the long ball era? It's not the home run that gets people to tune in. In fact, you can argue that it's the home run that's killing the sport right now because it's the only thing that these hitters are attempting to do. It's either try to hit it out of the ballpark or strike out trying.
For me, man, I think it's a lot to deal with social media. You and I are big NBA fans. There is this thing called NBA Twitter. Every night, about 7 o'clock, NBA Twitter explodes. From 7 p.m. all the way probably until midnight, NBA Twitter is jumping from highlights, not only posted from the actual NBA account, from NBA TV, from every league, team across the association, any spectacular pass, any dunk, anything that happens, fun, that attracts more eyeballs, interaction with the crowd, the kiss cam. Like, NBA Twitter is a beast all onto itself. I don't see that from MLB. I see, all right, this happened. Like, there's no excitement around it. There's no push for it. Like, NBA.com and NBA TV, they promote NBA Twitter. Like, it's a hashtag with its own little graphic on it. Like, it's a beast all onto itself. Now, obviously, nothing can compete with the NFL. The NFL doesn't need that, but NBA has created something, and it has a life of its own. Like, any type of interaction that happens between a fan, it's automatically memed. Like, it's people out here making it happen every single second and trying to come up with the funniest meme. And older people may say, like, oh man, I don't care about that, but that's interaction with your fans. That's interaction that keeps it going. That makes people say, hold on, wait a minute, what happened? They go to ESPN, they go to NBA TV to see that Ja Morant highlight. They go to see whatever LeBron did. Like, oh man, the Lakers lost again, but how many did LeBron drop? You don't get that interaction from baseball, and I don't know how you do it. I really don't. Like you said, with everybody basically playing the same style of baseball, what's so exciting about a home run now if everybody's doing it? So we had this conversation last summer when no hitters were just happening basically once a month. What's so exciting about a no hitter if we get one every month? So it's losing a ton of appeal from the average fan because the thing that used to be cool isn't cool anymore. Just like the triple double in the NBA. It's like, oh yeah, you got a triple double. But people aren't excited about that anymore. They're excited about the new star and the new guy doing new things in the NBA. And the NBA has that on lock, and the MLB just simply doesn't.
Yeah, so Scott Campbell says if Major League Baseball was on more channels on Saturday than Fox and had no blackouts and was streamed on YouTube, then maybe people would know who the players are. Maybe, but every sport has some kind of like roadblock as far as to the accessibility of of every team.
Right.
I mean, they have the NBA All League Pass. You have your MLB. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these things that you could purchase and be a part of to get the blackout rules exist there in the NBA. You know, the NFL has the same thing. You know, like that's just kind of how it is. So I know what you're saying, Scott, but even at the same time, I don't know if more sports, if more fans would tune in, if there was more baseball on TV. I mean, it is a regional sport at that. I mean, we do need to just acknowledge the fact that at the end of the day, baseball is regional. It's turned into a regional sport. It used to be, I mean, I grew up, obviously, you know, a Reds fan or what have you. I did get a lot of, at the time, the Cleveland Indians when I lived up in Van Wert growing up. Those are the channels we got. We got all the Cavs. We got, you know, the Indians. We got even the Tigers. Like we got a lot of crossover as far as Fox Sports Ohio and Fox Sports Detroit and all that fun stuff. So we got a hybrid of it all. But at the end of the day, you know, I would watch any and all games that were on TV.
Wing AM.
And there was access to those because of the stars. I couldn't wait till when Roger Clemens got traded to the Astros. I remember how fun the Astros were to watch when they had Roger Clemens and just how good that team was. And Roger Clemens was so fun. The Boston Red Sox, of course, with Kurt Schilling and Big Papi and all those guys. Like I would watch that team as a kid growing up. Of course, the Yankees. I mean, I remember as a young kid, the Diamondbacks with Kurt Schilling and of course Randy Johnson at the time and the Luis Gonzalez, the game-winning hit in the World Series. Like I remember all those things. I wasn't a fan of those teams. I was a fan of the sport. So I guess the question I have for you baseball fans is this: 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Did you used to be a fan of the sport? Now you're just a fan of your team? Or have you never been a full fan of the sport? I used to be a full fan of the sport where I would watch all games. I would watch all players. I couldn't wait to tune in to watch all players. That's the big question I have is, are you just a fan of your team or are you a fan of the sport? Because I think there is a difference. That's why we talk about how regional baseball can be. Are you a Reds fan or a baseball fan? Because what I mean by that is, do you just watch the Reds, or if there's a game on, are you sitting down to watch it no matter who's playing? As a kid growing up, into my lower 20s, I was watching any game that was on, Kev. Now I can be honest with you and say I have no interest in these guys aren't stars to me. There's no stars to me. 518-1410. We'll pick up with this conversation on the other side.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Propane, keeping utilities simple and families warm since 1952. See how and more at culletpropane.com.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Do you want the best for your car? Then fill up with premium at Circle K. Circle K Premium is our best fuel with double the cleaning detergent, protecting your engine from corrosion and damage so it can work at its best. And that, my friend, increases your mileage for more cha-ching in your pocket. Plus, when you fill up with premium at Circle K, you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Offer valid Thursdays or Fridays at participating stores. For details, visit CircleK.com. Circle K. How convenient.
Okay, so we got the chorizo dumplings, the cucumber empanadas.
Zara's food truck is popping off.
Come on, guys, let's pick it up, all right?
But if she doesn't find a new chef, her truck will be stuck.
Carl quit this morning, so Jessica, I'm gonna need you on the fryer.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good, really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless, now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Do you have taxiety, that uncertain feeling before doing your taxes? Filing on your own or choosing the wrong partner can be stressful. Connect with Liberty Tax and then just breathe in and cash out.
Get your largest possible refund or your money back.
Now, repeat.
Visit StopTaxiety.com to schedule your appointment and say farewell to the stress of tax season. Liberty Tax. Let's end taxiety. At participating locations, terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Exergen wants you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Tip off to frickin' madness. When we say tip off, not only are we talking about every college basketball game available, but our new barbecue rib tips only at Frickers. Delicious bite-sized barbecue rib tips with your choice of dipping sauce. Every game played key to the march to the national championship and domestic draft personal pictures for only $650. Tip that personal picture. Tip off to the national championship of college basketball and freaking barbecue rib tips at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy all types of real estate completely as is. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
This is important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you fail to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specialized in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188. 800-364-9188.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When it comes to your credit card, Discover believes in having real people available 24/7 to help answer your questions. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
ESPN Major League Baseball reporter Jesse Rogers primarily covers the White Sox and the Cubs, but has expanded to cover all of Major League Baseball for ESPN, including being front and center for this coverage of the Major League Baseball lockout. And he'll join us coming up here 33 minutes from now, top of the hour. He'll give us the latest. He's been getting barely any sleep over the last couple days. Of course, he was up past 2 a.m. Waiting for a result of what basically was the inevitable, a cancellation to the start of the season. The Cincinnati Reds' very first 2 series of the season have officially been canceled, as well as all the rest of Major League Baseball. The first 3 games with the Cubs, March 31st, April 2nd, and 3rd. That series has been canceled at Great American Ballpark. And then the second series of the season has been canceled as well. Another home series, this time with the Pirates. That's at least 3 wins right there. So the Reds have already lost out on opportunities for 3 wins and potentially at least 1. I mean, we're talking a 4-2 start to the season now, just totally evaporated thanks to the owners and the players, both in their selfish ways. So there you go. So apparently the season, as right now, supposed to start on April 7th, a road series of a 4-game series against the Braves. As we talked about yesterday, it's a good chance that the schedule could be reworked. I think that when play returns, I think that it'll be worked out that those games are made up in doubleheaders. I mean, you could do that if you missed 1, 2 series, maybe 3 or 4 series. You can't miss an entire month of games and then make those up. You can't miss 30 days worth of games and expect to make those all up later in the year. So there is that little time crunch as far as that's concerned. Some guy on Facebook says Manfred has ruined Major League Baseball. I think him and the effort of the players are lack thereof. You know what's funny? Jesse Rogers put out a picture. He tweeted out a picture that I'll have pulled up for those watching on Facebook, YouTube later on. But he said, here are the players displaying a unified stance after the Major League Baseball Players Association press conference. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't recognize any of these dudes. If you like, I don't recognize any of them. I don't look at one of the, I know Max Scherzer's in here. I mean, I know who he is, but that's just because, but that's it. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 15 players standing right here. I couldn't pinpoint one player out of there. I guarantee you the biggest name, and no Mike Trout. Like, where's your Bryce Harpers of the world? Where's the faces of your sport? If the faces of your sport are not right there fighting for it, why should I care? Where's Joey Votto? Where's Luis Castillo? Where is Jonathan India? Where are those guys? Why should I care when the stars of our team that we cover and follow here are not even there fighting for their own sport? That's a problem. The second thing, the 15 guys that are in this picture, I can't, outside of Max Scherzer, and that's just because there's a picture of him below it highlighting who it is. I can't pinpoint one guy in this picture and say, oh yeah, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. I guarantee you, if the NBA was in this situation, I could point out John Morant, Zion Williams. I could pinpoint LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Anthony Davis and James Harden and Kyrie Irving. I can pinpoint pretty much an entire NBA lineup. NFL, who wears helmets and their faces covered. I could pinpoint an NFL lineup. I know exactly what these guys look like. In a sport where their face is not covered, in a sport where they play 162 days, in a sport that you basically spend more time with them during the summer than you do your own family half the time, I have a hard time understanding how this is such a problem for Major League Baseball. And it's as simple as this. They're not stars. Because back in the day, Kev, I could pinpoint Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire. I could pinpoint Roger Clemens. I could pinpoint Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling. All of those dudes, Kev, you could point them out. Ken Griffey. They were just noticeable. They were stars. I don't know when baseball turned into this. Everyone looks the same. Everyone walks the same. Everyone swings the same. Everyone plays the same. It's strange to me that they're putting a picture of all these players representing the players at this. And I'm like, where are the stars? There's no stars there. That's just strange to me, Kev. I think that's another problem. Maybe I just don't get it. I don't get it at all.
So I know I equate a lot of stuff to the NBA. Here's another one. The former president of the NBA Player Association is Chris Paul.
Mm-hmm.
The current president of the NBA Association is CJ McCullough. Vice President Andre Iguodala. Like, these are big name players. These are guys that you see walking down the street, you know exactly who they are. Kyrie Irving is another vice president of the Players Association. So, like, these are stars of the league being very active in what's going on. So, to your point, who are the guys that are president and vice president of the Players Union for baseball? I'm not saying that as if, like, who are these guys? I'm saying, who are they? Like, inform me. Let me know who they are. Are they the star players? Because, I mean, is Tatis Jr. a part of this? I don't know, just name your big time star. Are they a part of this? Or is it the guys that are fighting for, the guys that are making the league minimum? So if there's a bunch of league minimum guys are part of the Players Union and everything like that, like, we talk about this all the time. Big names and big stars have power because they are those brands. So if your biggest brands aren't in those meetings and swaying their power and everything like that, then what are you really doing? What's really going on there? So we can see in the NBA, like, some of the alternates and some of the player representatives are some of the biggest stars in our league. Well, not our league because we don't play, but in the association and everything like that. So that's pretty big, man, to have guys that no one knows being involved in that, man. Like Karl Anthony Towns, he's a players rep for the Timberwolves. I mean, like, that's big. Donovan Mitchell, player rep for the Utah Jazz. Like Fred VanVleet, it's the Toronto Raptors, but he's the star of that team. Bradley Beal, he's a player rep for the Wizards. Like, these are brand name guys being heavily involved in the union.
518-1410. I'm just getting a text now from ESPN's Jesse Rogers. He's asking if we can move his interview up to 3:45. We actually compromised it on 3:40, so we're going to step away for a few minutes to line him up, and we're going to get the latest as he continues to cover the fallout from the Major League Baseball lockout, the league versus the Players Union. We'll talk about all that, of course, and what it means. He covers the Cubs, the White Sox, and others. I'm curious his thoughts on, the Reds-Cubs series to kick off the 2022 season. That's officially canceled. Will those games be made up? How can that impact divisional races down the stretch? We'll talk about all of that. ESPN's Jesse Rogers next.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street are huge supporters of the Dayton Flyers. Whether you're one of the 13,000 fans cheering on the Flyers at UD Arena or one of the hundreds of fans packed inside Tim's on game day, there is only two places that you can feel the passion of the Flyer faithful more than anywhere else. Timothy's Bar and Grill is also a sponsor of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash in the afternoons and the Talking Out Loud Hour on Thursday nights with Sully. Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Go Flyers.
The Big Hoopla is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year and will hit a milestone 100,000 tickets donated to airmen, their families, and students when combined with Hometown Heroes events in those 10 years. This furthers our region's commitment to supporting our military during the 75th anniversary year of the Air Force. The 2022 NCAA First Four Men's Basketball Tournament, Tuesday, March 15 and Wednesday, March 16 at UD Arena. Get your tickets and donate to be a part of our mission at DaytonHoopla.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge.
But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99.
You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Cutting the price of your wireless bill feels good. Really good. Actually, it feels great. You should try it out. So cut your bill by switching to Straight Talk Wireless. Now offering our $45 Silver Unlimited plan with 5 gigabytes of hotspot and nationwide 5G on America's largest, most dependable networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person counts.
I do not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family time.
On itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
If you've had a car accident, the first call should be to Blake Maisland.
That's right. With the sun going down a little earlier, with the leaves on the road, with the rain, it just lends itself to more injuries. You just have to remember, you only need one number, and that's the number 4. We are here for you 24 hours a day.
444-4444 or wantmore.com. Your organization will give you an absolute free evaluation.
And we work the case for you for free all the way through unless we win.
You have rooted yourself in Dayton.
Sure. Well, we all are in Dayton together. And when things happen, everybody needs to come together and everybody has something to offer. I'm lucky enough that I went through law school. Everyone in our own firm brings a talent and we make sure that whatever's necessary for your case to win it, that's what we do.
444-4444 or online at wantmore.com. Attorney Blake Maisland. He's there to help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with cinematic mode, which lets you focus on what matters. And with Straight Talk, you can focus on getting the best deal. Our Silver Unlimited plan is just $45 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. And it runs on the largest, most dependable networks. Now with nationwide 5G. With the iPhone 13 on Straight Talk, you can share whatever you want, wherever you want. Straight Talk Wireless. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Do you have standing water, a wet basement, or water in your heat ducts? Hi, this is Jeff Heil from Buckeye Landscaping and Ohio Irrigation and Drainage. At Ohio Irrigation, we have a solution to end your drainage problems. We provide a free custom design and estimate to meet the needs of your home and keep you worry-free when it rains. Call Buckeye Landscaping, Ohio Irrigation, 432-9911, or visit our website, buckeyeandohio.com. That's 432-9911. Stop worrying. Call for a free estimate today.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Come rain or shine, high winds or mild breezes, blue skies or gray, it's a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Hey, Chief, we got a damaged RV on its way to the OR.
Well, that sounds like a job for the new head of RV surgery.
Wait, are you promoting me?
Congrats, Martinez.
Doctor, that RV's flatlining.
Well, that sounds like a job for the new head of nursing.
So you're just promoting everyone now?
Yeah, kind of looks that way, doesn't it?
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Hello, this is Discover, and we take customer service very seriously. We know that if you have a question or concern about your credit card, that's a serious matter, and you need to talk to a real person about it. So we offer around-the-clock access to seriously talented representatives in the USA. Again, it's a serious endeavor. The only funny thing about it is Bob. If you call us and Bob answers, you're in for a treat. Get 100% US-based customer service and talk to a real person day or night. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Major League Baseball reporter Jesse Rogers. We'll get him on the show momentarily. Supposed to have him on at 4. He tried to squeeze us in real quick, and then another commitment popped up, so he said he will come on with us here. He'll give us a call here in the near future, so we'll get to him coming up around the corner. You know what's funny is we talk so much about the marketability of these Major League Baseball players. This is an idea I've tossed around for many, many years. Always get a lot of pushback. And as I always say, solutions, not problems. I don't want to hear about the problem with the solution. So many people love to throw out the problems. They don't like to throw out solutions. The problem is, well, baseball doesn't market their stars or market their sport good enough. Well, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means because I see a lot of baseball players in commercials. I see a lot of local commercials, of course. I see a lot of national commercials. Putting guys or gals in national commercials doesn't not automatically just make you a star. You have to be a star to be in a commercial. And I don't know if the branding of the Major League Baseball, or I don't know if there's a if there's a pool of Major League Baseball players that are strong enough to carry a big time brand out there, a brand that a lot of times companies spend millions of dollars on. If I had to spend millions of dollars on a professional athlete to be the face of my product, or at least the face of my product for a 30-second ad, if I'm going to spend millions of dollars on that, it's not going to be a Major League Baseball player. There's not a Major League Baseball player out there that has enough weight to his name or not credibility, but his charisma, whatever. There's no one out there. The NBA, full of them, full of stars. The NFL, full of them. Golf has more marketable stars than Major League Baseball does. So that's sometimes just because you put all the best players in baseball in a car commercial doesn't automatically make that sport viewable or desirable or put it in high demand. So there's that. But I want to say this. I've kicked around this idea for many, many years. And you want to know the last time the New York Yankees played at Great American Ballpark, Kev?
2007.
2017.
Oh, way
It's 2022. The Yankees will not play here unless it's the Yankees and Reds in the World Series. And
make it happen, Ken.
It may not even be a World Series. So let's just be real. So do you want to know they played in 2017 at Great American Ballpark? Now the Reds play the Yankees this year, just at Yankee Stadium. You want to know the last time they played before 2017?
When?
2011. You want to know the last time the Yankees were in Cincinnati before 2011? 2003. I was born in 1989. Now, I stopped going back as far as 2003, and my guess is it's averaging out to about once a decade.
Right.
So I was born in 1989. That means in my lifetime, for me to see the New York Yankees in the area that I've lived in my entire life, I've lived in the state of, well, I shouldn't say that. I lived in El Paso. I was about 10, so that's not fair. But the point is I've lived the majority of my life in the state of Ohio. The Reds are the team that I go watch. I've only had 3 opportunities. So I moved to Van Wert when I was about 12. So I'm 32. So in 20 years of my lifetime being in this state, I've only had 4 opportunities in 20 years to go watch the New York Yankees.
The Empire.
162 games are played every year, or 162 games are played by every team every year. And you mean to tell me that the most marketable team you have doesn't even make a stop in every one of your damn cities that you have a team in? What? And here's the other thing. I think it hurts the sport that you have these small market teams that don't get to make visits to the bigger markets every single season. The fact that there's even a schedule out there that does not include your teams squaring off against every team in the sport is crazy to me. I think that is absolutely insane. In fact, college football, obviously, there's more teams than games, so that's difficult. That's why you have your Power Fives and all this stuff. But college football, they're not hurting. We could talk if there's a star for some small school in Texas. I mean, if TCU has a star, we're talking about them, right? Mm-hmm. If the Reds have a star, we're not talking about them outside of Cincinnati. That's just how it is. So I have a problem. With Major League Baseball's scheduling model. 162 games. You know why not every team faces one another in the NFL? Because you play 16, 17 games. It's not going to happen. That at least makes sense. But in a sport that is thriving to spread its product around, to be able to put its stars in front of everybody, to me, when you play 162 games and you cannot put the Yankees the Yankees they're a tour in itself. They are a brand in itself. The Yankees brand is bigger than baseball's brand. That's what's crazy to me. And you can't find a way to put the Yankees in every ballpark every single season. Why is it that the last time I had a chance to watch the Yankees, it would have been 5 years ago at Great American Ballpark? Before that, 2011, that's the last time the Yankees in the last decade have come to Great American Ballpark twice. Twice. That's your biggest brand in your entire sport. Twice. The Reds will play at the Yankees this year. Super. What I've said is that at the very least, both of those the Yankees should play in every ballpark every single season. And it frustrates me that is the case. But I think we are good to go, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, cool. If you're just tuning in, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station. Of course, yesterday, the news that we were hoping not to get, although should not have been surprised by, that the 2022 Major League Baseball season will not start on time. The first two series of the season have officially been canceled, and we are Dayton's home of the Cincinnati Reds, of course, so we now know that the home opener, or the season opener, opening day on March 31st against the Cubs will not happen. The first series of the season against the Cubs has been canceled, as the series with the Pittsburgh Pirates immediately after. Two NL Central opponent series, well, canceled. But excited to bring on our next guest, who's done a fantastic job covering the lockout news, of course, ESPN's Jesse Rogers. Jesse, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Look, man, I appreciate it. I've been following you all week. You've done a fantastic job. So thank you for making time for us here in Dayton. Real quick, I know we only have a few moments with you, but obviously yesterday the inevitable happened. The start to the season canceled. Let me ask you, for those out there that say that a deal was close to being done 2 nights ago, is that accurate? How close were we to actually getting a deal done between the Players Association and the league?
I mean, not that close, but I think the excitement was over the progress made Monday into early Tuesday morning. I was out there for 16 and a half hours. I mean, something good must have been happening, right? I mean, you can't fight for that long. You must be agreeing on something. So I think the momentum for Monday was leading to a hopeful Tuesday. But the hardest part was in a negotiation is always the end. So even if they were at the 50-yard line or the 40-yard line of the opponent, getting into that red zone and into the end zone was always going to be the most difficult. So, no, it wasn't that close, but it was at least heading in the right direction for a while.
You know, Jesse, you talked about them meeting and going all the way up until 2 o'clock in the morning and everything like that. And then we get the news that it's not happening and they're going to be postponing some games and everything like that. We got a ton of calls from listeners saying, well, why not continue meeting the very next day? Why are they taking days off from meetings?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that a lot. At some point, it's kind of like you end up having diminishing returns. I mean, you start getting on each other's nerves. And, I mean, they met for 10 days. I mean, I guess you could meet for 11 and meet for 12. But sometimes you need to take a breath, change a venue, think of new ideas, and come back. Now, they can't wait weeks, obviously. They'll probably be back at it by Friday, maybe even tomorrow via the phone or Zoom. I get that. I get that question. It's just that at some point you have to stop. You just have to. Otherwise, you're just going backwards. So I don't know if I'm giving a great answer, but it'll be a day or two, and they'll go right back at it. Like I said, it gives each side time to think about new ideas and new avenues to get an agreement.
So, Jesse, Kev's a glass half full kind of guy. I'm a glass half empty kind of guy. So I'll continue my streak of being negative. But if they've had 3 months and all this time to get a deal done, knowing that the cancellation to opening day and the start of the season was on the line, and that still didn't motivate both sides to get a deal done, why should we expect where we're at now to add increased urgency to get a deal done now? How confident are you that in the coming days, weeks, hopefully not more than that, that a deal can get done?
I am confident. I think by mid-month it'll be done. There's a lot of layers to this, a lot of, I don't want to say agendas, but strategy by both sides in potentially delaying. And I actually think that might be the case, that both sides were willing to delay. So if both sides are willing to delay, why wouldn't there be a delay? You know, it's not like I think the league was trying to, get something done under their terms, under the wire. But under the wire was their own deadline. It wasn't the union's deadline. And actually, it might behoove the union to delay as well. If you believe that the owners did not care much about April, well, that implies they really do care about the summer months, May, June, and July, which means why wouldn't the union up to May and threaten to stay out in May and June and stuff? So there's different motivations, strategies. And now we're losing paychecks, the dynamic changes more. So, just because they didn't do a deal in January, that doesn't mean they won't do one by April. Like, the dynamic changes, things change, motivations change, and I'm confident they will. They want to make their money. They're just going to wait till the last possible moment, the best possible moment, I guess, to pull that leverage button or pull that leverage lever, I guess, and hopefully they make the best deal. But the weird part is I think both sides feel like maybe waiting will end up with the best deal. I don't know. It's a game of chicken right now, but I do think a deal will be done certainly by the end of March, if not sooner.
Well, we definitely hope you are right again. I know that for us doing a sports talk radio show, it's always not, the Bengals took our area all the way to the Super Bowl. And then the next thing you know, we're heading into March Madness. It's supposed to be a perfect handoff. And, I'm having 2020 flashbacks all over again. Jesse, last thing on the way out here, the Reds and the Cubs are supposed to kick off the season, and the Reds will now miss the opening series with the Cubs and the Pirates 2-home series. As a part of the, the negotiations that are ongoing, if that's all we miss is the first 2 series of the season, maybe 1 or 2 more after that, the chances of these being made up are what? Do you believe that could be reworked back into the deal of maybe some double headers kept on later in the season? How do you see that panning out?
I do. I wouldn't put it as a guarantee. I think right now I'd say it's a 50-50 proposition, maybe more if it's just the first 2 series. I mean, the league kind of had a flimsy excuse for saying they can't do it because there's interleague series that you only play once a year, right? And then all of a sudden, there's no second trip in to an interleague city. So you can't make it up as easy. But there's ways to do it. I know they're adamant right now about it, but I think there's a chance they could work it back in. That's if we only miss two series, because that's a little bit easier than like 3 weeks,
Absolutely. Actually, this is the last thing on your way out, and you could do a quick answer on this, but it always comes across that I'm more pro owner than pro players, when really my big message to everybody is that I'm not really taking a side. I think that both have valid arguments on both sides, so I'm not really team owner, team players. But the players keep trying to do this whole like, hey, it's not us. They're the ones locking us out. In all seriousness, I mean, if the league hadn't locked the players out, they would have gone on strike, correct? I mean, was it just a matter of who was going to strike first, if you will?
Absolutely. I understand where you're coming from. I'm the same way. We all respect players. They're the stars and everything, but I am down the middle about this as well. I will tell you, I was there firsthand. It's not like everything the union's done for the last year about this deal has been altruistic. They have their own strategies and agendas and stuff. So I'm with you that it would have been a strike. I'm also of the opinion, let's get a new CBA before you start playing. That makes sense. So whether you called it a lockout or not, they need to come to an agreement. That's the bottom line. And look, I think the league has to raise the CBT. Forget all the other arguments. They have to allow owners that want to spend on players the ability to spend without paying these huge taxes. When the league does that, then I think the union will come to the table. And if the union doesn't come to the table at that point, then shame on them. So it really is about that number.
All right, good stuff. Jesse Rogers covers Major League Baseball, White Sox, Cubs, and more for ESPN. Give him a follow on Twitter at Jesse Rogers, ESPN. Jesse, again, I've been following your work all week. You've done a fantastic job. Always appreciate the time you give us here in Dayton. And take care and enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. Take care.
All right, that was ESPN's Jesse Rogers. Good stuff there. And again, that's why I wanted to shape it that way and say, look, I seem to come across more pro owner, but I'm really just I'm against both sides. Like I think, I'm standing right here, and I feel like the owners are staring at me, the players are staring at me, and they're both pointing at the other one, saying he started it. No, he started it, and I have to be the adult that says, you know what, both of you go to your rooms, except both of them sent me to my room because we're the ones that are being punished here. So there you go. But interesting to hear his perspective. But he's killed it, man. He's been on like every show imaginable, just doing hit after hit. And I didn't expect him to be willing to come on with us just because he's doing some bigger markets. So I really respect the fact that he was willing to give us some time. Got an interesting email from Tom Nichols with the voice of the Dragons. There's a lot of great work with the Dragons. Yesterday we were asked how this lockout and cancellation to the opening 2 series of the season, how will that impact the Dayton Dragons and the minor leagues? Well, I'll have that answer for you on the other side. Top of the hour, hour 2, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. More coming up next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Hi, it's Rick. I'm at the Smith home. Where's Donnie?
Leaves and autumn bookings pile up for Rick's gutter cleaning service.
He's out? Come on.
He needs help before his bottom line gets clogged.
Okay, well, what about Cristiano? We still got 6 houses today.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Want to find out what handheld perfection tastes like? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken today for a flawless family feast with the 12-piece strips meal at a great price. Get 12 premium tenderloins that are freshly marinated, honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to crispy perfection, along with 3 large sides, 6 fluffy biscuits, and 4 of your favorite Lee sauces. This is dippable chicken done right. Get the best in boneless chicken with the 12-piece strips meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Menards' huge selection of over 1,000 Patriot lighting options makes finding your style easy with 11% off everything. Coordinate the lighting in different rooms of your home with the trendy Citrine collection. The mid-century modern lines, elegant gold finish, and white glass is the perfect upgrade you've been needing. Get 11% off all Patriot lighting now at Menards. Good through March 5th. Savings are mail-in rebates. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 60. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of rain, a low near 32. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Propane, keeping utilities simple and families warm since 1952. See how and more at culletpropane.com.
Do you have taxiety, that uncertain feeling before doing your taxes? Filing on your own or choosing the wrong partner can be stressful. Connect with Liberty Tax and then just breathe in and cash out.
Get your largest possible refund or your money back.
Now, repeat.
Visit StopTaxiety.com to schedule your appointment and say farewell to the stress of tax season. Liberty Tax. Let's end taxiety. At participating locations, terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Exergen wants you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate, and they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. With new strains of COVID on the rise, we can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties in days at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you if you could simply take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. I buy all types of real estate completely as is. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family, apartment buildings, rental portfolios. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
When a nasty cold keeps you up all night, Vicks NyQuil Severe gives you powerful relief from your worst cold and flu symptoms, which changes a night that sounds like this into a night that sounds more like this. That's better. NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, sore throat, stuffy head, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed.
If I'm going to work from my home office, I need my home office to work for me.
It's possible at Staples.
To be most productive, my home office needs to have everything my office has.
Also possible because your local Staples store has the tools, tech, and furniture you need to get work done from home. And right now, you can save up to $100 on select chairs to put the finishing touch on your home office. Explore what's new at Staples, the working and learning store. Ends 3/5. In-store only while supplies last.
This is important news. If you have unfiled tax returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you fail to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specialize in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766. 800-467-2766. Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street are huge supporters of the Dayton Flyers. Whether you're one of the 13,000 fans cheering on the Flyers at UD Arena or one of the hundreds of fans packed inside Tim's on game day, there is only two places that you can feel the passion of the Flyer faithful more than anywhere else. Timothy's Bar and Grill is also a sponsor of the Justin Kidder Show with Kev Nash in the afternoons and the Talking Out Loud Hour on Thursday nights with Sully. Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Go Flyers.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
What's done more to improve overall health and wellness, modern medicine or personal hygiene? Actually, it's both. But considering that bathing went mainstream in the 1800s and brushing your teeth in the 1900s, isn't it time for something new, like cleaning your nose? After all, your nose is the body's air filter for trapping dirt and germs, the first line of defense against allergens, bacteria, and viruses from getting into your lungs. But how do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage isn't medicine, it's more like plumbing. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the very back of the nose where germs can get trapped and multiply, and then out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and microbes so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. Join over 2 million others and find out for yourself how refreshing and easy to use Navage is. At Navage.com, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
When it comes to your credit card, Discover believes in having real people available 24/7 to help answer your questions. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Great news from Rocket Mortgage. You could unlock more cash than you realize from your home's equity with a cash out refinance today. In fact, in the last year, average home values have gone up nearly 20%. That means you could unlock thousands of dollars. And with Rocket Mortgage, you could unlock all that cash in less than 3 weeks. But you've got to act right now before rates go up, because nobody knows how long these low rates will last. Put your hard-earned money to work. Make your life better. Build a home office, remodel your kitchen, or simply save that cash for a rainy day. Today's rate on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.25%, 3.48% APR, so you can lock in a great low monthly payment. When you're looking to unlock the cash in your home, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET today or go to rocketmortgage.com to get started. That's 833-8ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rates current as of 12/12/21. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. MLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, we are back off and rolling. Hour number 2, Justin Kenner, Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. If you just missed the interview we had with ESPN's Jesse Rogers, covers Major League Baseball and has been front and center for the majority of the coverage involving the lockout that has officially now got to the point to where the start to the 2022 season has officially been, well, canceled. I said the start, not the entire season, but the first 2 series of the season has officially been canceled. When talking with ESPN's Jesse Rogers, we'll have the full interview coming up for you again later on in hour number 3. But I simply asked him about his thoughts on, okay, well, they've had 3 months. The lockout, of course, went into effect on December 1st. And then the deadline, the makeshift deadline, if you will, that the owners put in place for Monday at 5 o'clock, technically the end of the day on Sunday, that they, again, it's a makeshift deadline. The owners pushed it back to Monday at 5. A deal was not done. Rob Manfred announced that the start to the season would be canceled. No opening day on March 31st. The first 2 series of the season for every team officially canceled. So if the urgency to get a deal done to avoid that wasn't enough to get a deal done now, why should we expect that any other kind of compounded urgency issues would all of a sudden lead to them getting a deal done at this second? Here's what Jesse Rogers had to say.
I am confident. I think by mid-month it'll be done. There's a lot of layers to this, a lot of, I don't want to say agendas, but strategy by both sides and potentially delaying. And I actually think that might be the case, that both sides were willing to delay. So if both sides are willing to delay, why wouldn't there be a delay? You know, it's not like I think the league was trying to, get something done under their terms and under the wire. But under the wire was their own deadline. It wasn't the union's deadline. And actually, it might behoove the union to delay as well. If you believe that the owners did not care much about April, well, that implies they really do care about the summer months, May, June, and July, which means why wouldn't the union do up to May and threaten to stay out in May and June and stuff? So there's different motivations, strategies, and now that we're losing paychecks, the dynamic changes more. So, just because they didn't do a deal in January, that they won't do one by April. Like, the dynamic changes, things change, motivations change, and I'm confident they will.
All right, that was Jesse Rogers. Good stuff from him. Again, give him a follow on Twitter at Jesse Rogers ESPN. Dayton Dragons fans, yesterday we were talking about, because we were so focused on how this impacts the Reds and us as a Reds affiliates. What does that mean for the Dragons, though? So Tom Nichols, with the Dayton Dragons, voice of the Dayton Dragons, had also the director of media relations and broadcasting, just sent this out to all media in town, that the Dragons organization continues their preparation towards opening night on April 8th, and it is followed up by saying that the minor leagues will be unaffected by the MLB lockout. According to the press release, the Dayton Dragons continue to work with excitement toward their 22nd season in professional baseball as they prepare for opening night on April 8th. That's right, April 8th. That is not too far off in the distance. So it's a 132-game season. It'll include 66 home games, of course, and they'll open up the season on April 8th, opening night, as they welcome in the Fort Wayne Tin Caps at Day Air Ballpark. So It goes on to say that in regard to the Major League Baseball work stoppage, please note that the business operations of the Dragons and all minor league baseball will be unaffected by the lockout at the Major League level. The Dragons organization released the following statement. Despite the work stoppage on Major League Baseball's season, minor league baseball has a full season ahead, unaffected by the ongoing situation. The 22 minor league season and the players who are not on the 40-man roster or signed to a major league contract will continue. Minor league teams will continue to hold mini camps, minor league training camp, and extended spring training. Major league affiliates will be operating their minor league operations uninterrupted. Minor league baseball always plays an important role for the game, and we look forward to doing so again in 2022. So good luck. Good news, Dragons fans, Reds fans, baseball fans in general. We still get baseball here in the Miami Valley. April 8th, Dayton Dragons will have opening night and start their 132-game season, 66 of those all home games. So that is good news to hear right there.
Such a good time down there checking out the Dragons. I go to at least 3 games a year. My wife, she does some work with them as well. So I'm down there a ton, man. It's always a great time. And, there's a lot of restaurants and bars opening up around the area. So, go have some good times.
That area down there, like my friends and I, we regularly go visit the Oregon District. We love the Oregon District, but they've built that up over the years around Day Air Ballpark. Like, that's a pretty dang cool place. Like, Bricks is always fun to go together. We're giving all this free pub. I don't even care right now.
I try to go low profile, but go ahead.
But no, because I give Bricks and a lot of those places a lot of credit. They've been able to navigate through the pandemic, and throughout an entire there was no Dragons baseball in 2020, and then obviously the restrictions put in place. Those were hesitant to go to games last year. I mean, that's a resilient area downtown that's been able to survive the worst of the worst that we've had to experience from a business standpoint. Of course, obviously lives matter more, but you know what I mean. Like, in regards to just the professional side, the business side, resilient area down there. More businesses popping up. I mean, the Moeller Brew Barn. We used to do our Buckeye pregame shows out at Moeller over in Troy. And now they're opening up a kick-ass facility right across from Day Air Ballpark that I'm excited about. I just started. All my friends they're big in going to breweries. I just started getting into that. I like my Captain and Cokes. I don't drink too much beer, but I've started getting into the breweries.
Wait a minute. How was bowling last night? Did you?
I did not drink.
I didn't go for the 3-peat.
Oh no, I forgot my trophy. I won the trophy last night. So a few weeks ago, I had won the trophy for the most pins under average, which was not a good night. And that's usually because I had a good drinking night. If I have a good drinking night, I have a bad bowling night. I had a kick-ass bowling night last night. I had the most pins above average last night.
Okay.
So I won the trophy last night. It was the good trophy. There's a loser's trophy, which usually I'm in the running for, but I got to bring the winner's trophy home last night. So I was pretty jacked about that. So, yes, I will bring the trophy tomorrow to show it off. The reason, you're probably saying, Kenner, no one cares about your stupid trophy. Well, listen, I'm 5'5" and fat. I don't have a whole lot of trophies in my life to show off. So the one time I get a trophy, I'm going to show that baby off. Just saying. So there you go. But no, bowling was good. Hungover, but good.
So you say
I used to have hangovers that would last till about 9 or 10. Now it's 9 or 10.
Welcome to life after 30.
No, it's stupid.
Yes.
I can't hang. I heavily drank 2 days in a row, and I couldn't handle it. I was in pain yesterday. I struggled yesterday. I struggled Monday too. No, Monday. Yeah, yes, Monday I was in pain. Yesterday I was in pain. Today I felt great. Got a lot done.
We're letting it behind the curtain, man.
So how about this? Dale Gribble. Shout out to Dale. Let me make sure everyone can read this. Some of them lofts in the ballpark area start at $500,000 for a basic setup. I did construction on most of them. That area is very up and coming. I'm always curious about that. Like, I see all those really cool those units out there. Let's $500,000. Yeah. I just bought a house. Thank you, Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. If you're looking to buy or sell your home, give Brad Mays a call, 937-572-7425. But Brad would love to sell a couple of them $500,000 developments. Man, Dale. That's cool. But yes, I mean, the buildup of downtown over there has been pretty dang cool. I know when we used to go to Dragons games, I'd be like, man, like, let's hurry up and get to our car and get out of here. Like, this is a little sketch around here, but now it is pretty cool. There's a couple breweries down there, quite a scene down there. So I will be spending quite a lot of time at Dragons games just coming up. So
Dale, you said you did some construction down there, so that means you can do some construction work around, my home, Kenner's home. Slide my DMs, one Kev Nash. I got some projects at the house that need some fixing.
Oh yeah. I'm not very handy around the house, by the way.
It's only so much I can do via the YouTube tutorials, so I need a professional.
Mark Smith said a Bloody Mary in the morning is my best advice. Nah, it's a lot of ibuprofen. A lot of bottles
chug
of
that water before you go to bed, man.
A lot of bottles of water, a lot of ibuprofen. That's all I know. But because I went to WWE the other night. That's where I got to. I've never been to a wrestling event intoxicated before. And I'm telling you right now, you can make fun of me all you want for being a wrestling fan, but my fandom just went up a notch. Being drunk at a wrestling event, nothing's better. Nothing's better.
You took it to
there was a family
new level.
There was a family that sat behind us. Okay. And you know how all you boobs out there like to say, oh, wrestling's fake. No one's saying it's not. So just chill. But this dad and mom and their 2 kids were sitting behind us. They were so jacked to take their kids to their first wrestling event. This kid's about 7 or 8, and he's pissed. And I'm like, well, man, this little brat, man, parents need to whoop his ass, man. What's going on behind me? Well, then I found out what he was mad about, and it's funnier than hell. He goes, this is fake. He was furious. It's like he just found out. He just found out that it was like he was mad. He goes, that didn't hurt. He didn't even hit him. And then the kid did it. He dropped the BS word.
Wow.
It was awesome. That was enough to get the mom to come swooping over from behind and taking care of business.
That's what I love.
Then I'm cheering her. I'm like, yeah.
I'm one of those people that love to see moms and dads go crazy on their kids, going to the grocery store early on a Sunday or something like that. And the kid is dragging her coat and moping and crying. And then the parent just snaps, especially the moms. The moms hem them up the best, hem them up against the Cheerios and give them that look. I love it.
Holy moly.
That's how I got disciplined.
Stick to sports. Come on now, guys. But anyways, so yeah, appreciate Jesse Rogers, by the way. Good stuff there. Want to pick up with where we left off, and then I want to move on to the NFL a little bit. So the thing that's interesting to me, Kev, about Major League Baseball and the ways to market the stars. Well, for one, how am I supposed to know the players I'm seeing on TV if I don't even have a chance to see them come play in our ballpark?
Mm-hmm.
The New York Yankees, as I talked about earlier. So the Reds are playing the Yankees this year, just at Yankee Stadium. The last time the Yankees played at Great American Ballpark was back in 2017, 5 years ago. The time that they played at Great American before that was in 2011. The time before that, 2003. That's a problem. That's a problem that your sport's biggest brand only stops into some of these ballparks once, maybe twice a decade if you are lucky. And we are talking about a sport that plays 162 games. But Justin, the divisional game, I get it. Do you need to play that many divisional games? Like, the big question I have about the divisional games is, like, I could see if you could only win the division based on your win-loss record within the division.
Mm-hmm.
It's just your total win-loss record.
Right.
You want to play the teams in your division because if you beat them, you're winning while they're losing, and that's how you close the gap and all that stuff. But to me, if what's the point? Like, I don't care about your division record. If you could still win the division and still have the third best record within your division against your division, who cares? Like, you don't need those. You need the division games. Don't get me wrong, but I guess you see my My point is, do you need to play that many division games? If the only way to win your division is you need to have the best record against your division opponents, then okay, fine. There's that element to it. But you just need to have the best record. You can have a bad record against your division, but beat up on enough of the teams outside of your division to be, in a 162 game season to still win 80 to 90 games and make the playoffs. Who cares? So my thing is, you need to have that many division games. I just think we should. They need to find a way to make sure that a franchise is playing in every ballpark around the country every other year at least. Okay, the Reds are playing at Yankee Stadium this year. The Yankees should be coming back to Great American next year. Maybe they are, but you see my point. Like, I think that's ridiculous. In the NBA, I know that the Eastern Conference will play the Eastern Conference twice.
Right.
You get you get LeBron James and the Lakers in Cleveland once a year, and you get Cleveland in Los Angeles once a year. You know why that's a good thing? Because I may only watch Cavaliers basketball, but But you know what? When they go play the Lakers, now I get to watch the Lakers.
Yeah.
Now the Lakers, you're saying, well, why do they care about the Cleveland Cavaliers? They may not, but they care about their team. You know what they're going to do, though? When the Cavaliers come to Los Angeles, they get to watch that young Cavs team that they maybe wouldn't have been paying attention to. And, man, I really like that player. Man, that player's pretty nice. I'm going to have to keep an eye on what's going on with him and follow what he's doing. You put your product in front of as many people as possible. How you have 30-plus teams in baseball, and yet you isolate your product from half of your fan base under your sport umbrella, it doesn't make any sense. And people will come at me with, well, tradition, this, tradition, that. So you would rather let your sport die due to tradition than starting a new tradition. And that is, I don't know, letting people see your product. Letting people see your product. Now, people will follow that up, Kevin said, well, you know what? The NFL, those teams don't play in every stadium every single year. The NFL is God. The NFL is not broken. The NFL doesn't need fixed. The NFL is not hurting by not getting to see the Dallas Cowboys play in Cincinnati every year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the NFL was struggling, now there's no way to make every team play everybody in the stadium. But the thing is, that doesn't hurt the sport. I know every star in the NFL across the board. And they don't always play in Cincinnati. They don't always play in Cleveland. But that's how healthy the sport is. Baseball is not a healthy enough sport for you to isolate your fan bases from your stars. How am I supposed to vote on an all-star game when I probably haven't even seen these guys play? Like, it just fascinates me, Kev. I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. When I looked at this, and I was like, man, the Yankees haven't come to the ballpark since 2017. The last time was 2011, and the time before that was 2003. So in my lifetime, 4 times the Yankees have come to Great American Ballpark or Cincinnati in general, regardless of the stadium. 4 times, Kev. The Yankees have come to the stadium, to Cincinnati, 4 times in my lifetime. And I'm 32 years old. What is going on? That is not a good marketing strategy. That's not good scheduling, and that's definitely one of the big marketing flaws in the league.
Absolutely. Look, man, they act like this is still 1932. It is 2022. These dudes are on chartered flights. You can fly a charter flight from New York to LA.
You might get your franchise taken away.
This ain't the WNBA. This is Major League Baseball. You can fly a charter flight from New York City to LA in 4 hours, 4.5 hours. That's not a long time. So it can be done. They need to dial back. Maybe they're not playing so many 4-game series. Maybe they start playing some 3-game series and do some of the things you also suggested. You can make this happen. They need to make this happen. I mean, I remember a time where there wasn't interleague play. The only interleague play was the World Series, you know what I'm saying, and the All-Star game. So they made an adjustment because it was better for the sport, making this adjustment that you get more of the brand teams playing each other, or more of the brand teams in smaller markets and everything like that brings out more fans to the ballpark, man. It needs to happen. It should have been happening.
518-1410, 518-1410. That idea pitched right there, that I believe find a way every other year. I get it. I get why you can't. I think you can. But I do think that every team should come play in Cincinnati every year, or at least every other year. Okay, you should play this. Every team should play with another every year, one way or another. Even if the Yankees aren't coming to Cincinnati, I still think that at the end of the day, the Reds should play at New York every year, or the Yankees play here every year. And I'm not just using all teams. You know, some of the games we're fortunate here at the station to have season tickets, if you will, through the station. And the games that I went to the most, I didn't go to a lot of Reds-Cubs games or Reds. I couldn't wait to watch the Astros when they came to town. I couldn't wait to watch the Angels when they came to town. I wanted to watch Trout. I wanted to watch, we watched Justin Verlander pitch. I think it wasn't last year. Would that have been 2 years ago? Holy moly. Yeah, because it wasn't, I don't think it was last year. Either way, when I watched Justin Verlander pitch, I said, well, we have to go watch Justin Verlander pitch. That will be the final time that we see Justin Verlander. Do you understand that Justin Verlander has a couple more years left in the league, and we probably saw the last of Justin Verlander? Like that's not okay. That's not okay. Every team should play. So you have this new big star in Ohtani. So I feel like the fact that it might be another 3 or 4 years before Ohtani ever steps foot back at Great American Ballpark, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If last year was the big debate, is Ohtani the next face of baseball, or is he the current face of baseball? If he is, don't you think that it would be in your best interest to put that mofo in every ballpark as often as you can? Yes. So the fact that the Reds will not see Ohtani in their ballpark for another 2 to 3 years it's insane to me. That is just not good marketing.
The same Ohtani and Tatis Jr. shouldn't only be on the field during the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like that is like a Sunday night baseball game. That is like, hey, 2 of the biggest stars in the league, 2 very young players in the league who are going to be in this league for the next 10, 15 years playing on Sunday night baseball. We have to hope that they're facing each other in an interleague game. Nah, man, that needs to be an occurrence that people can count on.
518-1410, 518-1410. Calls are coming up on the other side. We're just going to take a few-minute break right here. Again, look, what am I counting? I'll tell people how long to wait. Give us 2 minutes. Give us 2 minutes for those of you on hold, and we'll get to your takes on the other side. But just to recap quick, I think it's tough. There's a lot of things, like nothing you can do can change overnight. You're not going to fix all of baseball's problems overnight. Apparently, you can't do it in 3 months either. But I will say that there are some things you could do immediately, like, I don't know, making your product more accessible. And I don't just mean fixing the blackout rules and the viewing side of things. I mean, like, let the stars play in every ballpark. And that's crazy to me, man. That is just insane. I know football, you can go a few years before the Patriots come to Paul Brown Stadium. I know you can go a few years between the Cowboys making a visit. But do you feel slighted? Like, Bengals fans could tell you everything about the Cowboys still.
Mm-hmm.
Because football is healthy. Like, for you Bengals fans out there, you know a lot about other teams. You know just as much about other teams as you do yours, because the football is healthy. The sport is healthy. Like, you are a fan of the sport. Baseball fans are only a fan of their team because they see the same things every year. You see the same Cubs team, the same Cardinals. That's a given because that's in your division. But you should be able to look forward to the Yankees every year. You should be able to look forward to the Red Sox. You should be able to look forward to those. I mean, who do they have this year coming in? Of course, like obviously, the Mets. Of course, that's in the they're in the division. Of course, they have a lot of the Mets. But coming, you have the let's see. You do have the Yankees. You're at the Yankees though. You do have Boston coming to Great American Ballpark. But Kev, guess what? Boston's 2 games in the middle of the week in late September, which who cares, right? You're still going to go. But when's the next time you're going to see Boston at Great American Ballpark? So you'll go.
5 years.
You'll go. All right. So that's all. It's just fascinating to me when you look at this big picture. The fact that they could find a way to make Cleveland and why can Cincinnati and Cleveland face each other every year?
Well, same way the Mets and the Yankees play.
But like, you can make exceptions. You can make things work. Figure it out. Because why the Yankees Red Sox or the Yankees Mets series matters. It means something. The Battle of Ohio means something. I don't know. Let's talk about this on the other side. 518-1410.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Tip off to frickin' madness. When we say tip off, not only are we talking about every college basketball game available, but our new barbecue rib tips only at Frickers. Delicious bite-sized barbecue rib tips with your choice of dipping sauce. Every game played to the march to the national championship and domestic draft personal pictures for only $6.50. Tip that personal picture. Tip off to the national championship of college basketball and frickin' barbecue rib tips at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
KTH Parts Industries has immediate openings for second and third shift production associates and equipment technicians. KTH promotes from within, offers an attractive benefit package including medical, dental, 401k, attendance bonus, and a competitive wage starting at $19 per hour with annual increases and shift differential. KTH will be hosting walk-in interviews Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. through 3 p.m. Please bring a resume and photo ID to apply or see other career opportunities at kth.net. KTH is an equal opportunity employer.
Staples stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Sure, we have 30 seconds to tell you that drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
But then what? We could romance the legal copy. It never gets the attention it deserves. And some lawyer worked real hard on it. So take it away, lawyer.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. National annual average insurance savings by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive in 2020. Potential savings will vary.
Now that was some beautiful legal. Well done, lawyer. Well done.
Can you imagine going to work every day and loving it? Well, that's what we do at Alpha Media Dayton, and we are looking for a digital sales specialist to join our team. We offer a competitive, guaranteed base plus bonuses. For more info, check out the digital sales specialist position at alphamediausa.com/careers.
Kev, did you know that nearly 200 quarterbacks have started 50-plus games in the NFL since 1950?
No.
Only one of those quarterbacks has never thrown a pick six in his career.
What?
Nearly 200 quarterbacks have started 50-plus games in the NFL since 1950. Only one of those QBs has never thrown a pick six in his career.
Who?
Mitchell Trubisky.
Hey!
Mitchell Trubisky.
Hey!
So there you go. But yes, that my ADD, that definitely caught my attention right off.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, pick six is, what's an average amount per season that happens?
I don't know, man. I mean, it seems like it should happen more than it actually does. But for basically every quarterback out there ever to start a game, has thrown one, that's pretty remarkable for him not to have thrown one. Now watch, he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers and his first pass be a pick six, and that'll all come to an end. But so that's a pretty amazing stat.
So
I'm impressed.
How about this one? Lovie Smith, he says that time will take care of Texans' Watson issue. And I don't know if he means the time that Watson could serve. I'm sorry.
I knew you were going to say that.
The headline caught my attention. That's what my mind does. But he says time will take care of the Texans' Watson issue. And it's just a matter of whether it's, 10 to life. I mean, I don't know.
So foul.
Holy moly. Seattle Seahawks Coach Carroll says that there is no intention to trade Wilson. Well, I don't think any organization intends or wants to trade their star quarterback, but as we've learned, especially in the NFL, these athletes are starting to gain a little bit more of the leverage, and to be honest, they make too much money and have too much value for you to just sit there while they're miserable and bring the morale of your team down. Oh, well, you don't want to trade them, but if you could trade them and get some Build-A-Bear pieces back and be able to rebuild through the draft, I mean, I think it's dumb of Seattle at this point. I don't see Seattle being a move or two away from being a Super Bowl contender at this point, Kev, so I'm kind of at the point now where if I'm Seattle, I just rip this Band-Aid off. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, I mean, the Aaron Rodgers potentially. Quarterbacks do not spend an entire career. I mean, Big Ben might have been the last.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Phillip Rivers spent his entire career, except for one, with the same team. So I think it's kind of silly to just hold on to Wilson, just to hold on to him. I say now, rather than spend a couple more years until he gets into that decline stage, trade him now where you can get something back for him. Because you have a head coach who's outdated as far as offensive philosophy is concerned. You can get a lot back for Russell Wilson. And if they're not willing to move on from the head coach to kind of create a fresher vibe in that locker room, because I think that's really where they should have gone. They should have moved on from Pete Carroll and at least shown Russell Wilson that, hey, we're going to get someone new in here, a newer, younger, offensive-minded head coach, maybe an Eric Bieniemy, somebody. Let's do a new look. But the fact that they're not willing to move on from Carroll, that's not going to work there. Like, I think that Wilson needs to go elsewhere, a breath of fresh air for him. And I think that the organization needs to go in a different direction as well. You got a Super Bowl out of him. You got 2 Super Bowl appearances out of him. To say that the run with him was underwhelming, I'd say it was overwhelming. You won a Super Bowl with the quarterback. You drafted a superstar quarterback that nobody thought would be what he ended up being. I'd say it was a big time success as far as I'm concerned. So when they say they have no intention of trading him, I know that you're, of course, you're not going to tell the media if you are, unless there's really direct issues. But I think that they should look to trade him. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens this upcoming off season. So we'll see what happens.
What's fair? What's a fair asking price for Russell Wilson?
2 first rounders. Doesn't have to be. When I say 2 first rounders, doesn't have to be. You're talking 1 or 2. That when you have first round draft picks, you are drafting a very good college player that you hope turns into a pro. I wish people weren't so afraid to move on from first rounders to get a talent like a Russell Wilson, who you know what you're getting with him. If you are a San Francisco 49ers team and all you have to do is to drop Russell Wilson behind a Super Bowl roster, those 2 first rounders probably still aren't enough to get him. I mean, to me, he's worth more than that even. And I say 2 first rounders, there's probably other picks involved, maybe 2 firsts and a third and some cash and maybe another player for our salary dump, what have you. I don't know. I'm not a front office guy. I just know that to me, I think that first rounders, I'm not afraid to give up first round draft picks to get a Russell Wilson. I'm not afraid to give up first rounders. I think that he has more value than Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson still has 2 years left on that contract. Aaron Rodgers has 1. Aaron Rodgers is better, but I think Russell Wilson has more value. You trade for a guy that you have 2 years of control under? Why not? Like you trade, like for instance, Cleveland. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I reach out to Seattle now and say 2, 3 first rounders. He has 2 years left on his deal. Cleveland brings Russell Wilson in. Cleveland's in a win now mode. Russell Wilson comes in and it just doesn't work. That's fine. Trade Russell Wilson again at the end of the season. Get maybe that first rounder, one of those first rounders back, hit the reset button, blow up the roster, move on. Cleveland needs to go all in. And I think Russell Wilson's a guy that they should target. Aaron Rodgers, they're wanting the sky for this dude. And I'm like, you realize like you're asking teams to give up multiple first rounders to get a head case that, could retire after 1 year. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers one little tiny bit. If the Browns end up getting Aaron Rodgers, which is unlikely, but not that unlikely, Kev, my big mindset is this. It's, well, that's super. You got Aaron Rodgers, but at the end of the day, you got him for 1 year. You got him for 1 year. So that's the problem I have as far as that's concerned. Russell Wilson is who I would, if I'm the Browns, I kick the tires on that and see what do I got to do to get that deal done. The Steelers, the same thing. Why would you not drop a couple first rounders to go get a Russell Wilson? Now, I know you've talked before about there's other holes you need to fix with those picks, but who knows?
I think there's only a select amount of teams out there that are a quarterback away. That being a quarterback away is a very unique spot to be in. Like the Rams found out they were one quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl. They made a big trade for Stafford. They got it done. They're hosting the Lombardi. They had their parade. Everything worked out for them. I think a lot of teams aren't in that mode. Like, I guess the Browns, who else is a elite quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl?
I think your Steelers are closer than you're giving them credit for.
Did you see that offensive line?
Yeah, but who's to assume that they're not going to at least make an adjustment or two? But I also saw the Bengals get to a Super Bowl with a worse offensive line, and I think that Wilson, I'll get eaten alive if I say that,
could mask some of those.
Wilson or Burrow, who's better?
Wilson right now, but ultimately I think Joe Burrow is going to take that spot.
So that's what I mean is Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, with the shaky offensive line, with better weapons offensively.
But the thing about Russell Wilson is he also has a no trade clause. And if I'm Russell Wilson, I'm thinking to myself like, oh yeah, great. The Pittsburgh Steelers, a great organization. They got this, they got that, they got X, Y, and Z. But hold on, I've been playing behind a crappy offensive line in Seattle. I'm about to go to another team with a crappy offensive line. Like, that would be my reservations if I'm Russell Wilson. And then, you start hearing all these rumors about, his destinations, where he would be willing to accept a trade to New York and Las Vegas and things of that nature. So, like, that's another situation that the Seattle Seahawks have to deal with, him having a no trade clause, because he's only going to go to where he wants to go. And then, obviously, you need to get back what you want to get back. So, some of these teams out here aren't willing to play ball like that. If I'm the Raiders, do I want to move all first round picks and Derek Carr to get Russell Wilson, like, I'm not sure that Russell Wilson makes them over the top better. I'm not sure that puts them in the Super Bowl. I think they basically not get back to the exact same spot, but I think maybe they'll be a win or two better. It's like, so you just gave up all that just to get one win. You were in the playoffs last year. So the Cleveland Browns are the only team out there that I would say, like, yes, that would be the move to make.
I think there's more than that but I don't think they're willing to trade within the division, not the NFC West, but the NFC as a whole. I'm looking at a team. I mean, I look at Minnesota with that offense. I mean, you got that offensive coordinator from under McVay, and look at all the success of these coordinators in there. If Minnesota could acquire Russell Wilson with Justin Jefferson, obviously with Adam Thielen and with Dalvin Cook, they have some work to do on that defense. But then again, we're talking about Super Bowl. I don't think Minnesota, but then again,
maybe that's
deadly right there. That in the NFC too. You got to account for the fact that the NFC is weak, and that you don't have to be elite to be a contender in the NFC. Washington's another team that I think is, well, maybe not a Super Bowl, but that defense is so damn good. I know they took a step back last year, but you got dominant pass rusher, you got some good corners, they got some cap space that they can use to address that. But the NFC East has a lot of suitable teams in there that can acquire Russell Wilson. But the team, I think, I mean, we're missing one right now, but the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are as constructed right now. You put Russell Wilson there, I think they're fine. You put him in San Francisco, which won't happen, but you put him in San Francisco, I think that's a Super Bowl contender right there. Going down the list, Denver, I don't even think Aaron Rodgers in Denver puts them in that Super Bowl category. I think he elevates them. I think they're good, but I don't know if Denver with Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson becomes Super Bowl contenders. Do you?
Cortland Sutherland at wide receiver.
As
Jerry
constructed,
Jeudy.
the draft free agency coming up, of course.
I think so, man. I really like their defense. That's not a bad pick.
There's more teams than we thought, Kev. How about the Titans? If you're the Titans, it could trade Ryan Tannehill. Like if he really wants out of Seattle, and Seattle's looking for a veteran quarterback to be a bridge quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, the Titans could work out a trade to send Ryan Tannehill to Seattle. You have a more than capable quarterback to run an offense. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with Russell Wilson as constructed right now anyways. So you might as well try to get some nice draft picks back, all while also acquiring the services of Ryan Tannehill to kind of bridge the rebuild, if you will. And now you put Russell Wilson with Julio Jones, and AJ Brown, and obviously Derrick Henry, and that defense in the crappy division. I mean, my goodness, look out for the Titans, Kev. I like that's a team right there you could drop them into. The Colts are another one, but I still think that the Titans would be better off with Russell Wilson than the Colts. But the Colts have pieces.
Yeah.
But I like the Titans. I think the Titans make the most sense. What about the Raiders?
I don't think so.
They're not Super Bowl contenders.
No.
They're improved. He improves them a little bit. Carr's not terrible, but I don't know. Down this, so we talked about Pittsburgh, Cleveland, of course. Baltimore's fine. Buffalo obviously is fine. Miami just doesn't make a lot of sense right now. I mean, that whole thing's a disaster. I mean, they were trending in the right direction.
Did you hear the reports about that? They were trying to get Tom Brady and was it McDaniels?
No, Saints coach.
Sean Payton. I'm sorry. Yeah. That would have been one for the books.
Well, I don't understand when people out there like, man, if Tom Brady comes out of retirement, look out for San Francisco. You do realize that the Buccaneers would have to trade him, right?
Right.
The Buccaneers are not trading him.
And Bruce Arians said 5 first rounders.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because that was his subtle jab at everybody. That was his subtle jab to everybody of like, if you guys like, everyone's just talking freely, like Tom Brady could just go wherever he wants. He can't.
Yeah, he's not a free agent.
I don't know why he signed a multi-year extension to begin with. He should have known better. But anyways, that'll be interesting to continue following that. So there you go. David Shaw says, what's the main difference between the Browns and Raiders? Why are the Browns so far ahead of Las Vegas? Really? Defense, offensive line, run game. I mean, they have, they're going to go out and get receivers. I mean, Cleveland is more than ahead of the Raiders as far as I'm concerned, especially when you put Russell Wilson into that equation. Let me flip it instead of being a jerk as I always am, Shaw. In fact, let's just go to Shaw. Where's he at? 518-1410. Where's he at? 2. What up, Shaw?
What's up, brother?
So why do you think, rather than me be a typical me, you don't agree with me about the Raiders and Browns? Why do you think the Raiders? What separates the Raiders from the Browns then?
No, I'm actually glad you did it this way. I'm not saying that the Raiders are so much better than the Browns. I was just trying to ask Kev, why are the Raiders so far behind the Browns? Because he was making it sound like they made the playoffs this year. Some team in Cleveland didn't make the playoffs this year.
Do you understand why one team made it and the other didn't, right? Like a healthy Browns team.
Yes. I understand injuries and everything like that, but at the end of the day, the cold hard facts are the Raiders made the playoffs and the Browns didn't.
Okay, but
Shaw chose violence today.
No, but that's kind of foolish, Shaw. Especially when the reason that the Raiders made the playoffs over the Browns is simply because of the Browns just weren't healthy. We all know what happened that Raiders-Browns game on Thursday Night Football when it was the Browns, nothing but their backups and everything. That was brutal. And still almost won, by the way. The backups for all of the Browns backups still had a chance to beat the Raiders when it was all said and done. And the other reason, too, is because when the Bengals beat the Raiders, that proves right there that there's a gap between the Raiders and Browns because the Browns, the Bengals can't stop them. So I'm just saying.
I imagine that you go there. But,
rent-free, baby. They live in my head rent-free.
Yeah, well, they do. Anyhow, I just don't see the Raiders that far behind the Browns because, I'll give you the offensive line a little bit, especially if they go do something in the offseason this year. But the defense, other than Garrett, the defensive line is about the same. Linebackers are about the same. Secondary, I'll give if we're if we're making a choice here, I'll give the edge to the Browns, but not astronomically like you're making it sound. I don't think that the Browns are just leaps and bounds ahead of Las Vegas. You put Russell Wilson at the quarterback position instead of Derek Carr, that offense takes off. Who are the weapons that Russell Wilson's throwing to in Cleveland?
As of right now, I'll give you that. As of right, Jarvis, obviously, but in Njoku and all that, but they all had down years last year due to their own injury issues that they were dealing with. And that I'll give you. The reason I was so bullish on the Browns heading into this past season is the OBJ thing never worked out the way I thought it would. And if it would have worked out the way I thought it would and the way that most thought it would, and the reason that the Browns were considered Super Bowl contenders heading into last season was because everyone had anticipated OBJ being a huge factor in that offense. So when OBJ is your number one and Jarvis your number two, and then the contributions from Higgins, Hooper, and Njoku and everybody else, it was supposed to be an offensive juggernaut. But the offensive line decimated by injuries. Baker gets injured in week 2. Jarvis obviously comes out at the end of the season, announces everything he's playing with. OBJ, his dad, of course, got in the way of everything too. It's just a disaster. It just everything fell apart. Right now, I'll give you that. I'm going to let the offseason pan out, of course, but the weapons are the one thing that the Browns are targeting more than anything as far as pass catchers are concerned.
And I agree with everything you said on paper because I was right there with you last summer. On paper, the Browns look like the team to beat in the AFC, maybe other than the Chiefs. But as we all know, the game's not played on paper. It's just... But the main reason I called was the baseball topic. Mm-hmm. That one's multifaceted, honestly. Everyone wants to make it out to it's because of the stars and that, which I agree with. But how are you going to look at the NFL? As you said, they're God. The main reason why NFL, in my eyes, succeeds so well is we watch these kids from college. We see them grow. We see them grow for 3 years, 2 years, whatever you want to call it. Then they go to the combine. We watch them grow even more. And then they get drafted to these teams. And unlike baseball, just like you said, you can watch these teams. You don't have to buy a special package. You can see these teams almost every single week by just having your local cable television. Yes, some of them are on Amazon Prime, some of them are on this, some of them are on that. But look at baseball. Everything's regionalized, like you said. Everything's regionalized. You can't just turn on other than Fox. You can't just turn on the TV and watch any team you want to watch.
But can't you say that about all sports? I feel like that's all sports, though. I can't just turn on the Lakers anytime. Maybe that's a bad example because they're always on nationally, but like as far as draw, but like let's say I'm a random Milwaukee Bucks fan here in Dayton and I'm a huge Giannis Antetokounmpo fan. I can't just turn that on and watch them, right?
Well, maybe.
So my point about that is I can if I get the NBA League Pass, and if it's if the same theory I have for baseball, you can get, of course, what's the baseball version called? I don't know why I always forget that the
Major League Baseball extra innings,
the extra innings or what have you. So it's the same. I still think you have the same opportunity. I think the NBA and baseball are pretty dang close. As far as that,
the
right?
difference the difference I see is NBA's on TNT, TBS, NBA TV, of course, all over ESPN, plus some of the local and ABC when it gets to the NBA Finals and stuff like that. Baseball is only on Fox nationally. It's only on Fox. It used to be the Braves were on TBS, and the Cubs were on WGN and stuff like that. And that stuff isn't the case anymore because baseball decided they wanted to make the thing regionalized.
True. Everybody real quick, but my only counter to that is you're talking about the Cubs on WGN or whatever that was, and then the Braves, who, by the way, the reason I grew up a huge Braves fan. This is why I never tell you I'm a Braves fan because I want nothing to be in common with you, Shaw. But I grew up a huge Braves fan because I always stayed with my grandparents growing up, and my grandma loved the Braves because she would watch her soaps all day, and then at night she would turn on the Braves game, and that was the only thing I liked watching with my grandma was the Braves. So yes, I fell in love with baseball because the Braves there. So that's one example, but that's also just one team. I don't know if the Cubs and Braves are what saved baseball back in the day, but there's at least two teams out of market that you could at least watch on any given basis. But like you get the games on MLB Network, ESPN has Sunday Night Baseball. They have games throughout the week, of course. There's plenty of ways to access it, of course. Could there be more? Of course, but I don't know. You are right, though. But there's still a couple other channels that embrace the NBA as far as that's concerned, but that's usually not until later in the season after the NFL wraps up and the draft and everything else when you start getting those Sunday games on ABC.
True, but that's why I also say it's multifaceted because, again, like with the NBA and the NFL, you're seeing these guys grow in college. Yes, you may only see them 1 year, but you still saw them in college for an entire year. Who are you seeing other than, here with the Dayton Dragons, who are you seeing getting drafted? You're not.
No, that's fair, but that didn't keep guys like Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and those guys from becoming stars in baseball. I'm with you on that. Like, I do think it helps that you fall in love with these college athletes and they're instant stars in the NFL. It's easier to follow and track their journey. But in baseball, there's no fan bases for college baseball as far as, being able to watch them on television on a regular basis. And then when you do fall in love with the college baseball player, they get drafted, and then you got to wait 3, 4, 5 years before they make any kind of impact at all at the major league level. And we only have 60 seconds, Sean.
All right. But again, it's still even more multifaceted than that. You just said, like Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, some of the older players, and I'm not trying to take this to a racial thing, and I'm not trying to make this a whole thing of where it's going to be divisive, but also look at the players who you want to say that are the quote-unquote stars of Major League Baseball right now. Shoho and some of the other ones, Venezuelan and all this thing like that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they went so global in all of their outreach that none of the main stars are American. And as much as we want to sit there and say that we are global in outreach and everything like that, but baseball, look at who baseball targets and who they want to sit there and push everything towards. And I'm not going to go political. I'm not going to go that aspect of it. But NBA has reached out to grab those younger fans and everything like that. Baseball doesn't do that. And there's so many reasons why baseball's losing the younger fan. It's too expensive to play the game. Everything's more towards select sports. There's no real true local baseball leagues anymore. So it's all travel ball and everything like that. And I could go on for hours about this because I've been around baseball since I was 5 years old. I umpire the game now. There's so many aspects to why baseball is killing itself that it's sickening to me. And as a Braves fan, I feel bad for Atlanta and all their fans because now they're not even going to get to, yes, eventually they'll get to celebrate and put the banner up and all that, but you lose it being opening day. And that's all I'm going to say. And I'll get off here and let you guys go, but you guys have a great night. Peace.
Later. 518 888-1410. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. A lot of those talking points are used regularly to kind of to talk about it. My thing is there's a lot of roadblock. Like if baseball had never shown signs of being a marketable sport before, I would agree with most of the reasons why people are saying it can't. But at the same time, Kev, the college or baseball has always been a sport that they're not stars in college, and it takes many years to develop in the minors before you can even get called up and have enough years in the majors before you become a star here. So, I get that that's one of the roadblocks there, but I think the reason that the NFL has thrived is because as college football has become the biggest thing ever. That's helped the NFL become the biggest thing ever. I also think it's as simple as this. For those of you out there that like to talk about the dropping ratings of the NBA, I think there's a direct correlation between the dropping of the ratings in the NBA and the dropping of the ratings in college basketball. I think there's a direct correlation there. I think when you fall in love with college athletes, when they're playing at your school for 2-3 years and you watch them come in as freshmen and grow for 2 or 3 years, maybe all 4, like a Patrick Ewing back in the day, you knew damn well who Patrick Ewing was in college. You knew damn well who he was there. Outside of maybe 1 or 2, like your Zions or whatever, and like Obi here for us, but he was around a couple years. But like, it's Dayton, so it's easy to use Obi as an example. Obi wasn't as global of a star as what we all like to believe that he was, and he just wasn't. No offense, it's just reality. So you see what I mean? I think there's a direct correlation between the drop in ratings in college basketball that also pulled the drop in ratings from the NBA. I think you look at the stars going into the young players going into the NBA, they're just not as marketable as what they used to be. Patrick Ewing was a star before he even stepped foot in the NBA. LeBron, different because it wasn't college, but he was a star before he even stepped foot in the NBA. Tim Duncan was a star before he ever stepped foot in the NBA. Allen Iverson, and the list goes on and on. Ja Morant became a star in a couple day stretch and during March Madness, of course, coming from a mid-major team. But I don't think it's a coincidence at all that as the college basketball rankings have dropped over the last decade, that so have the NBA ratings at the same time. And you can argue that there has never been more star power in the NBA than what there is right now. What did I say of the top 75? There was like 16 active players in that list right now.
That.
Like we're watching top 75 players ever. 16 of the top 75 players ever are playing in the NBA today. And that's during a time the NBA ratings have dropped. I think a lot of that has to do with, college basketball only being popular for 1 month out of the year. Used to not be that way. It used to it thrive. Now I'm talking to a city that loves college basketball, so you might not agree with me, but it's the reality of it. Ratings for college basketball have dipped at the same time. College football, as that has become a bigger and bigger and bigger power, so is the NFL. I think there's a direct correlation. Joe Burrow was a superstar in college in a 2-year stretch at LSU and was an instant star in the NFL. If you know nothing about Joe Burrow, if Joe Burrow is the backup quarterback at Ohio State and is drafted in the 4th round by the Bengals and then becomes Joe Burrow, he's interesting and he will become a star in the NFL, but not an instant star. Russell Wilson wasn't viewed as an instant star right away, Kev. Remember that? Like it was just, he's a young quarterback on a team led by the defense, and now he's one of the best in the league. But it took a little bit. So that's what I mean by Joe Burrow. These guys are stars in college and they're immediate hits in the NFL. And that's just how it is. Baker's not a very good quarterback, but he's one of the biggest stars in the NFL from a talking standpoint, from jersey sales, from just he's just a firecracker. You bring his name up, and anywhere in this country, people have an opinion of him. They either hate him, they love him. He's polarizing. Who's polarizing in college basketball? The last polarizing figure there was one of the Ball brothers. That's it. And that's because their dad was a star because of that, whatever. I'll let you talk now. Sorry. But
I think it just points out how much we love football in the United States. Like we have so many options now. We have options upon options. We got 1,000,001 channels on our cable, or if we don't like cable, we can go to a streaming network. We can go to Netflix. We can go to Hulu. It's so many options for us to be entertained and everything like that. So I think this just speaks to the power of the NFL more than it says the decline of people's interest in basketball or football. I think this speaks to how much people love and have a passion for football, not only professional ranks, but the college ranks as well, because I got family that lives on the West Coast and they love the fact that they wake up at 9 a.m, watch their Cleveland Browns, watch whatever the other game is, and they're done with football at 4 o'clock. And then they go and do their thing. They love it so much. So then obviously us here in the Midwest, we wake up, we go to Frickers, and then we watch our 1 o'clock game. Then we watch our 4 o'clock game, and we're in the house because it's cold outside and everything like that. That speaks to the NFL being king. When you live on the West Coast, or you live down south, or you live up in the great Northwest where you can go out and hike and everything like that, I'll catch the Mariners on Wednesday. Oh, man, we got something going on Wednesday. I'll catch them on Friday. Oh, man, we got something going on Friday night. I'll catch them on Sunday night. But the NFL, you only got one time. You got one time a week to watch your favorite team. And that goes for NFL and that goes for college. So I think that has a large role to play in this as well, because every other sport, there's so many games. In college, there's 30 basketball games. In the NBA, there's 82 regular season games. In MLB, what's it, 162?
Yep.
So you got so many opportunities.
Sorry. There is now, let me do that. 156, 157 in that range.
You got so many opportunities to catch your favorite team. And then just like everything else in life, you miss it once, you miss it twice, you miss it 3 times. It's not a big deal. And we come apathetic about the whole situation. But that football, we only got 17 of those. I'm locking in. Oh, that college football? Oh, we only got 12 of those. I'm locking in for those. So I just think it speaks to the power of football. They have a perfect sport. And I don't see them messing this up for nothing.
Hour 3 coming up next. Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street are huge supporters of the Dayton Flyers. Whether you're one of the 13,000 fans cheering on the Flyers at UD Arena or one of the hundreds of fans packed inside Tim's on game day, there is only 2 places that you can feel the passion of the Flyer faithful more than anywhere else. Timothy's Bar and Grill is also a sponsor of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash in the afternoons and the Talking Out Loud Hour on Thursday nights with Sully. Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Go Flyers.
When it comes to your credit card, Discover believes in having real people available 24/7 to help answer your questions. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/find. That's ZipRecruiter.com/find. ZipRecruiter.com/find.
Hey, Ray Magliozzi here. Have you ever cooked a really fine gourmet meal? Yeah, me neither. But I'm told it all comes down to the ingredients. And when I need ingredients to improve my car, the place I go is eBay Motors. Whether you roasted your last transmission, graded your current floor mats, or pureed your side view mirror on a lamppost, eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And by the way, if you recently fired up your grill, don't worry, eBay Motors has grills too. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Today on Hey Culligan, sustainability and better water. Here's Sam.
Hey Culligan, I'm really into sustainability. My clothes, my utensils, my food. But how do I get more sustainability from my water?
Super question, Sam. And the answer is an always-on drinking water system from Culligan, which helps eliminate the equivalent of 15 billion single-use plastic bottles a year.
Whoa, that's a ton of sustainability.
416,000 tons, Sam, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Byers Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here, hour 3. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. Picking up with where we left off without an exact specific topic at hand, how we got to this point. I don't know. Everything we've basically been talking about really started from the opening of the show, talking about the latest in the fallout from, of course, Major League Baseball canceling the start to the season. The first two series of the season for all Major League Baseball teams, including your Cincinnati Reds, have officially been canceled. The Reds' opening series of the season against the Chicago Cubs, of course, March 31st was supposed to be opening day. Their opening day opponent, the Cubs, the opening series of the season canceled against the Cubs. Second series of the season, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Both of those series canceled. The Reds, if the schedule just moves on as it's supposed to, could see the Reds open up the season on April 7th on the road against the Atlanta Braves. But one thing will be interesting, the Reds always open up at, supposed to be always opening up at home. Obviously, that's not the case now. We'll see how some of these things are going to be interrupted along the way.
So much for tradition.
Traditions, they're not the window. For a sport that brags about its tradition, traditionally, don't we have spring training going on right now? That's usually tradition. So there's that. I don't even know how. I guess when Shaw called, we were just talking about the different sports and everything. I know what people are saying about how baseball is not as easily accessible to view. I disagree with that, Kev. I disagree with that. Is it the best? No. Obviously the NFL is best. The NFL has one of the best TV deals out there as far as the accessibility to the product. I mean, between if I can go to watch a game on Fox, I can watch a game, obviously, it used to be on CBS, ABC, ESPN, whatever, you just name it. NFL Network, you have the Red Zone, whatever the hell that channel is. I mean, there's so many ways you can access the NFL, the Sunday Ticket, you name it. Sure, there are blackout restrictions. That's annoying. Yes, but whatever. There's I understand it. It's hard to overcome it, but I do understand it. That's no way to appease the TV, media deals. Of course, you don't want to, if Fox Sports Ohio, why would you, for the Cincinnati area and stuff, of course, why would you want to basically kick your hometown networks in the groin by giving all the access to the MLB, to the package or whatever. So I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Especially because YouTube TV dropped it, and I'm still angry to this day. That is really frustrating. Luckily, on the new house that I bought just recently, thanks to Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, which, by the way, he helped me buy my house. I promise you he'll do a kick-ass job helping you buy your first house. Or if you want to sell, you could sell your house. 937-572-7425. Give Brad Mays a call today with Home Experts Realty. As it's warming up, by the way, like I said, it's beautiful outside. Look at that. Look at that. We'll end the show today. Would the listeners be mad if we just did a 3 to 5 show? What if I just changed it to the Justin Kinner Show? And Kev, I'm going to eliminate you. You're no longer part of the show. If I had to make changes, I would cut Kev and move the show to 2 hours. I'd give myself a huge raise.
Oh,
look at all the changes.
Can't forget about the raise.
Yeah.
Can't forget about that. The most important part.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot. It's starting to get dark later and later. I was when I got home last night, it was about 6:45. I was like, man, the sun is still out. It's still out. I was like, man, I can start going for a bike ride. Kenner's going to start golfing. It's almost that time, man.
It is, but real quick. So I get the blackout rules for the sports. Back to this real quick. There are the NFL. I'm sorry, Major League Baseball. It's all over the place, though. It's just, will people watch it? It's all over ESPN. There's games more than 2 or 3 nights a week.
Right.
I know here on the station, there's 3 nights a week that we carry games on ESPN radio. It's accessible all over the place. The thing is, you could make something accessible, but you have to have something. If you make something accessible, is it something that you want? Hockey fans tried to just bombard me all the time that, well, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that people don't like it. I know that people like hockey. Not enough people like it to drive a local sports talk radio show, especially in a market that doesn't have an NHL team. Now you're going to say, oh, well, you don't have a baseball team either. I get that. But that shows you how popular the Reds in baseball is. That shows you how popular the Bengals and the Browns are. That shows you how popular the Buckeyes are. That we don't need to have the Dayton Buckeyes or the Dayton Browns or the Dayton Bengals to talk about it. We can't fill even a segment of this show with the Dayton Blue Jackets talk because hockey doesn't work. Hockey's accessible. You can watch hockey, right? Doesn't mean that people will. I mean, if you have the ESPN Plus or whatever, it's all over. When I go find the Wright State games and the Dayton Flyer games or what have you, you know how many hockey games I have to pass to find it? You know how many hockey games I pass and never once say, I wonder what the score of that game is? I don't do that. That's me you like it. But all I'm saying is just because it's accessible doesn't mean that people are going to go watch it. That's the thing.
And another thing, I mean, if we were in Boston or New York, we would be talking a lot of hockey.
Oh, and
it moves the needle in those markets. It doesn't move the needle like that here.
We don't talk Cleveland Guardians baseball here too often. It doesn't move the needle over here. If the Reds did not exist, would we talk baseball at all in this area?
Doubtful.
That's fair. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think we would.
I think we would talk New York Yankees because they're a national brand.
We had Keyshawn on a while back, Keyshawn Johnson. He ranked the tiers of teams in Los Angeles. Do you remember where he had the Dodgers? That was so.
I can find it.
We had Keyshawn on the week of the Super Bowl. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because he started ranking the teams that get the most attention in Los Angeles. And I can't remember where he had the Dodgers. I thought he said Dodgers was king. I could be wrong on that. I don't think that's the case.
He said Lakers.
Lakers were king and Dodgers. I thought he said Dodgers was second on that list because we were talking about how the Rams, I thought he had like fourth or fifth on the list of teams as far as the talking points. So found that interesting.
I can't remember if I'm not able to find it.
It's okay. But either way, but that's interesting. So like, obviously baseball is a big deal over there. I went to Dodger Stadium when I was in Los Angeles this past summer. And they had 40,000 fans there. And that was a down attendance figure for them, Kev. That is a kick-ass figure in Cincinnati. Now, again, we're talking smaller Ohio, smaller Cincinnati compared to Los Angeles. But like, it is interesting how that works. Bottom line is, could baseball be more accessible on television? Yes. But is it impossible to find a game? No, it's not. If you really, really wanted it, you would go find it.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, baseball is played every single night. So what do you mean it's not accessible? Are you talking about the team that you want to watch isn't accessible? Because, I mean, I know Shaw is a Braves fan.
And that could be it, too. So you feel like you're being kept from your product. But, again, you can get the MLB package or whatever. I can't. What is it? The MLB package. What is it called? You just told me, and this is my short-term memory issues. Either way, the season, whatever it is. So, bottom line, if you want Braves games, you can get them. You can go find them.
Yeah.
You can go find them.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a ton of baseball on ESPN all summer long. There's always a game on MLB Network. There's games on TBS. There's games on TNT. There's on Fox on the weekends and everything like that. There's a ton of baseball on all the time. I guess you can only be talking about your team because, I mean, I can't watch my team.
Extra innings. Shaw, thank you. Shaw even said that when he called earlier, but literally, yeah.
Yeah, I can't watch my team. I can't tell you I saw the Cleveland baseball team last year on Fox maybe like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, if you're not a fan of the Reds living in Dayton, Ohio, your team ain't accessible unless you want to watch the Yankees and the Red Sox on Sunday Night Baseball about 50 times this season.
So, yeah, that's not having that is kind of tough. Like if, with those blackout restriction rules, like I think we almost get blocked out from our hometown team more than we do for the rest of the sport. Like I don't have YouTube TV, or I have YouTube TV. They don't have a deal with the Fox Sports affiliates. So we don't get Reds baseball.
Right.
We don't get Guardians baseball. So
is that Bally Sports now?
Mm-hmm. But I can go and, I can get the extra innings package and watch every team around Major League Baseball except my own.
Oh, because it's blacked out. I got you.
Like that ticks people off, Kev, but you got to understand that there's a partnership with those Fox Sports affiliates, because those Fox Sports affiliates want people to subscribe to the cable networks that carry Fox Sports Ohio so that they can continue with their money that they pay to the Major League Base. So Major League Baseball does that. That won't change, by the way, because that is a partnership that is done in their media deal, of course, with Fox Sports, those stations that carry those games, those affiliations, Kev. Part of that deal is the fact that we get to carry those games, and we don't want people in our area who we market to, who our commercials and everything and inventory is dedicated towards, to people in our market. We don't want people around here accessing it elsewhere and not coming directly to our channel, coming directly to our product that way. So it makes sense. I get it. It's unfortunate. It's annoying, but you know what? There's ways. By the way, I found a way. To get I'm just saying.
This was some years ago. It was when the Big Ten Network first signed on. If people remember this, it wasn't available that very first day because it signed on like on a Thursday, and everybody and their mom, including me, was panicking about Saturday because of course their first game is going to be an Ohio State game. Of course it is. And we didn't have it. And everybody and their mom was losing their mind. Like, hold on, you mean I'm not going to be able to watch my Buckeyes? But deals got worked out between cable providers and the Big Ten network, and we got it like I want to say like at 10 o'clock everybody had the Big Ten network, and everybody a sigh of relief. I am very surprised that Bally Sports and YouTube TV can't come to some type of agreement, man, about this, man, because so many people out there are cutting the cord and going to streaming networks and everything like that. They have to get that done, like for real, because like me not being able to watch the Guardians whenever they play, like they're not a new franchise, but like new guard. Like I talked about this around Christmas time. I spent $400 on new stuff, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and you mean I can't watch my team? Like it's the only team that I care about in baseball, and I can't watch them.
What's crazy is like, so when we do Reds Fest every year, when we go do the show from Reds Fest, there's affiliates coming all the way from Tennessee.
Right.
There's one of the big shows that always is put on there. So like, obviously we do our show at Reds Fest. Mo Egger, Lance McAllister at 1530 and 700 WLW over in Cincinnati. They, of course, they do their big setup there as well. It is always cool running into Mo and catching up with him and seeing how other stations do it. But then there's another station that it always catches my attention. I'm like, oh, I went up, what's your guy's name? Tell me about yourself. They're from Tennessee. And they have a huge Reds fan base over in Tennessee. It's huge over there.
Amazing.
Like, there's a big Bengals presence over in Tennessee as well. Like, even with the Tennessee Titans fans over there. That's why the Titans during the playoffs in the what round would that have been? The divisional round?
Divisional, yeah.
As the one seed, the reason, and I had no problem with it, the gamesmanship of it all, but like they had to adjust their ticket buying opportunities because they didn't want Bengals buying up the whole stadium. Bengals fans buying up the whole stadium. Titans fans, like they're not the most passionate bunch. I make fun of Bengals fans, but damn it, I respect their passion when their team's good because they were swarming the damn stadium, and the Titans had to adjust their ticket sales for the playoffs to make sure that it wasn't all black and orange and whatever the hell the name of their stadium is. So like, I get it. Here's the other deal too. So where did that go? Following this so Shaw said, where the hell did it go? There it is. Sorry. There isn't games on TNT and TBS until the playoffs.
Right.
Well, the reason that's the case, Shaw, is because they used to carry the Braves games all the time. And then the Braves the ratings for that went down. Ratings are all that matters to these TV networks, the ROI, the return on investment. And the ratings for those games started to drop. Now, I don't think it's coincidence that the team was not very good at that time either. But you want to talk about the importance of having a good product out on the field. Can you imagine if there was a network tied into the Reds that was all based on whether the product was interesting enough to draw ratings? The Reds, no one would ever touch the Reds because they're not interesting. The one time or two that they do bring interesting players in, they trade them at the deadline or just outright don't even try to retain them. You get Trevor Bauer for what? So that you can watch him win a Cy Young and say, see ya? I mean, it does. He gets a Cy Young and you say, see ya. It doesn't make any sense. You bring in Yasiel Puig just so he could fight an entire dugout by himself and then say, see ya to him too. Like you bring over Alex Wood, you bring over some big names and then you just let them go. You bring Castellanos, who nearly won an MVP this year, just to say, see ya. Like, that's a problem. Anyways, I'm getting off on another rant. But the TNT, TBS, the one reason that they dropped that deal, Kev, it wasn't bringing ratings. There was nothing there. The reason that they bring that, so TBS, those stations, well, they must not like baseball. No, they like baseball. They like the games that bring ratings. So the ratings for those Braves games went down. That's one reason they said this just isn't worth it. We got to move on. We need to air 55 reruns a day of Friends instead of carrying Braves baseball. And that's the reality. And I like Friends. I watch Friends all the time. So there you go.
Amazing. I mean, I just don't understand. I just don't think people like baseball like that. I just don't. Like, I don't think people are tapped in on baseball like they used to be.
No, and
I want to hear from parents with kids. Do your kids love baseball? Because that's what it's really about. Do the kids love baseball? Because we as adults, we obviously have 1,000,001 things going on. And when the football season is here, we make adjustments to watch said football games. We're not making those adjustments to watch 100+ baseball games. So do kids love it? I don't think they do.
Interestingly enough, I remember as a kid playing Little League Baseball. The Little League I played in, of course, you had the Cubs, you You had the Reds, you had your Yankees, your Cardinals, your Royals. And when I found out what team I was on, I was pissed. I was on the Royals. There was no worse team back when I was a little kid to be on the Royals. Who wanted to brag about being on the Royals? You know, I wanted to be on the Reds. I wanted to be on the Yankees. I wanted to, you know what I mean? Like, you want to go. It was cool. It was the actual like logos and stuff. It was pretty neat. A little different, like you differentiate it for copyright things on the sleeves of the arms. But I remember my parents getting so mad at me because I was throwing a temper tantrum. Shocker, even as a kid, folks. Should have been. No, I throw temper tantrums at 32 years old. I've been throwing temper tantrums my whole life. I threw a temper tantrum because I was picked to play on the Royals. I'm like, I don't want to play on the Royals. There's nothing cool about playing on the Royals. So the reason is because I was in love with those Yankees, those Reds teams, those Cardinals. I wasn't a Cardinals fan, but you felt cool playing for the Cardinals because you're a fan of baseball. I don't think these kids now give two fill in the blanks about it. I'm not saying there's no kids out there that care, but I don't think they care about the sport as much as what we did when we were kids.
Well, if the kids don't care, if the kids don't care and the parents don't care, that tells you exactly where the sport is. I mean, and to be perfectly honest, we can tell by how our phone lines light up. People aren't passionate about baseball anymore. We say one thing, or not we, you say one thing negative about the Cincinnati Bengals, watch the phone lines light up. You say something positive about Baker Mayfield, watch the comments light up. You talk about the Reds, you talk about baseball in general, and you get calls, but it's the same callers. We get new callers when we're talking about things that happen in the NFL and in college football. In baseball, it's the same people.
Oh, every time. And going down the list. So Mike Haywood, what up, Mike? Hope you're well. Mike says, I use the MLB app and pay like $5 a month for all the radio broadcasts. Baseball is way better on radio anyways. Again, is it the live video stream? No, but it's accessible.
Right.
If you want it bad enough, you'll go get it. Here's the thing too. There's going to be channels coming up for the NCAA tournament, like True TV.
Yeah.
You know that there's only 1 month a year that True TV carries college basketball, right? And that's March.
Yes, sir.
So it's the same thing because Shaw's bringing up that TNT, TBS, like, you know, they only carry baseball in the playoffs. I'm like, because playoff baseball is the only baseball that people theoretically tune in to watch. The ROI's there. A Braves game for a 162-game season that people started tuning out of that was big back in the day that's no longer big now. I mean, the Cubs, a network that had the Chicago Cubs, one of the biggest brands in all of sports, by the way, a TV network literally let them go. Why? Because ratings dipped. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So that's kind of what it is. And baseball's just not as strong. It's not as entrenched into our society as it used to be. So the arrogance of the owners and the players who both think that they could just, while having this little slap fight, this little tickle fight against one another, and that we're all going to be waiting when they get back. We'll be waiting, but waiting with open arms or middle fingers. I'm not sure what we're going to be waiting with and for as far as that's concerned.
To your point, the TV networks pay so much for the rights to baseball because they, as a TV network, they need to fill time. They have inventory to fill. So that's why they cough up the money. It's not necessarily because like, oh man, this is a great product that people are watching. Like, hey man, we are a sports network. I guess we should play sports. 8 o'clock, in the summertime, you want to watch cornhole or you want to watch some baseball. More people are going to turn on the baseball game because on the Deuce, on ESPN Deuce, they're throwing cornhole bags at 8 o'clock. And then by 10 o'clock, they're throwing axes into wood chips. And then 11 o'clock, SportsCenter comes on. So they're sports networks. So they're paying for the product because out of necessity, because they have time to fill.
So what's also interesting too, and you're right. So another comment in here, and I lost it, was complaining about the fact that ESPN. So ESPN is one of the few networks that carries baseball throughout the season, but every time you turn it on, it's Yankees Red Sox. Well, you want to know why? And let me tell you right now, that Yankees Red Sox series is garbage compared to what it was back in my younger years, and I'm 32. You know why that's the case, folks? It's because it's the only series that generates a rating. We carry the games here on 1410 Wing AM. You know, the most streamed and listened to games on our network is the Yankees and Red Sox. There's Guardians games from time to time that come on Sunday Night Baseball that we carry. It doesn't generate a number. Baseball on some nights doesn't generate a number from the ESPN lineup. Reds does. We do very well with Reds from a revenue standpoint, rating standpoint. Do very well with Reds. Why? Because it's local. It's the regional aspect that we talked about, right? And that's pretty impressive for us because I was always concerned when I got here about, well, and I don't mind being upfront with this because it's not like you guys are dumb to this. Why would you carry Reds baseball on 1410 Wing AM when 700 signal comes all the way over here? Well, again, you don't think we know that, but the numbers show it's worth carrying. We appreciate the loyal listeners that have a big signal like 700 that comes all the way over here and all the way around the damn world pretty much. And yet we still have awesome listeners in Dayton that support our station, that listen to the Reds games on our station. That's awesome. That like we're appreciative of that. That's pretty cool. You know what they don't listen to during the week as much as those baseball games. I'm just being honest with people. Like it is what it is. I see it. I see the numbers just from us in a smaller market or mid-level market like Dayton. It is what it is. So the reason ESPN puts on that Yankees-Red Sox game almost every chance they have is because that's the one guaranteed rating back in the day. You know what game used to generate a huge rating similar to Boston and Yankees? Cubs and Cardinals.
Yes.
Cubs and Cardinals are still two very good franchises. The Cubs snapped a 100-plus year drought of winning a World Series even 5-6 years ago.
Thanks, Skinner. And
that still hasn't mattered. Like the Cubs don't generate a huge rating on Sunday Night Baseball or whatever. That's crazy to me. Cardinals Cubs used to be one of the biggest ratings things here on the station when they'd carry that on ESPN. Right? That doesn't anymore. And that has actually been a more competitive series over the last 7 years than the Yankees and Red Sox.
It screams to how much people's habits change, man. People think everything stays the same, but it just doesn't, man. People's habits change all the time. I mean, shoot, you talk about that Yankees Red Sox. Like, I'm with you, man. I remember who was it that beat up the old man from the Yankees?
Oh, Pedro.
Yeah. I'm about to pull that up on YouTube.
And by the way, sports is a funny thing. It's the only thing that you could watch a guy in his 20s take an 80-year-old, toss him to the ground, and we cheer it. Sports is a very, very funny thing.
Come on the field, get what you want.
If I went to the grocery store and I watched some 20 or 30-year-old take an 80-year-old and throw his ass to the ground, I will start swinging on that dude. I watch Pedro Martinez do it, and I'm jumping up and down off the couch laughing hysterically. Sports is a very funny thing. It makes you laugh at very funny things. And it's very difficult to go. I mean, literally, he grabbed him by the head and tossed him down. Funniest thing I've ever seen. And if I said that about any other situation that involved a 30-year-old throwing an 80-year-old to the ground, I would be such a horrible person. But sports lets me get away with it because it was funny. Anyways.
We totally forgot that the Red Sox pitcher, which started it, hit the Yankees batter in the back.
Mm-hmm. And the 80-year-old was like, you ain't going to do that to my guy. By the way, we all need holy moly. What a game, though. What a matter of memory.
Oh, goodness.
Mike Haywood says it's the attention span baseball has lost. A lot of the action that's not pitcher and batter. No action on bases to watch anymore, pretty much. Oh, yeah. I've said that before. We've always talked about it, too, in the past. I think, like, of the 3-hour game, this is back when Tom Brenneman was still with the network or whatever. He had come on and did an interesting piece with us about this is back when it was the Kinner and Schlemmer show. He said of a 3-hour game, that studies had been taken that of a 3-hour game, the ball is only in play for about 3 minutes of the 3 hours. 3 minutes. In soccer, the ball is constantly in play.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Schlemmer. Kickball. If you're listening, Schlemmer, I didn't mean to call it. He would kill me if he found out I was calling soccer soccer. It's kickball, if you will. So there you go. 518-1410, by the way. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. Dale Gribble on YouTube says MLB had the cornfield game. The cornfield game. By the way, the cornfield game was awesome. I love the throwback game. That was so cool. And the Reds, by the way, are playing the Cubs in that this year.
Maybe.
Yeah, no kidding. MLB had, and I love Dale. I don't know why I found that funny. He called it the cornfield game, but he goes, MLB had the cornfield game, and that did great. That just felt worth mentioning. No, you're right, though. The cornfield game. That's what I'm going to call it from now. The Field of Dreams. Now,
if they build it, they will come.
It's the cornfield game. There you go. I don't know why I added the accent to it, but oh well. Dale also says MLB should play and televise all their games from cornfields from now on. There you go. You know how in the empty stadiums during COVID, they had the cutouts of everybody? Thinking all the stalks of corn, they should just put someone's face on all the corn. It just looked, you know what I mean? Just saying. Oh, look at the time. 518-1410. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, more of your Facebook reaction. By the way, appreciate everyone hanging out in the chat section today. Head to Facebook, search and like the Justin Kinner Show page. And to show that I'm not completely biased, I made fun of my Browns today on the Facebook page, the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. My goal is to try to get people. If I don't get a bunch of those little laughing faces reactions on there, have I really done my job? I enjoy trying to make people laugh. In the efforts of doing that, I annoy people more than anything else. But I love laughing. I love having a good time. So today on the page, on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, I shared this banner for Browns fans to hang up. It's the Cleveland Browns banner. You know how like the championship banners you hang up? Mm-hmm. It says at least 16 wins, or at least 6 wins in 2018, 19, 20, and 21. And then underneath it, it says took Kansas City to the limit, 2020 and 2021. That's funny stuff. I can make jokes about my team, so therefore I have the green light to make jokes about your team. I'm just saying. How it works. No, because most people that rip on the team, they think their team does nothing wrong. I'm not that way. I make fun of my team just as much as I make fun of the Bengals from time to time. So I love when people say, why don't you focus on your team? Well, I am focusing on my team. They kind of make me laugh and chuckle from time to time as well. Richard Boyd, what up, Richard? He goes, man, you have such high standards. And I said, well, on that banner, I would have put, we didn't finish in last place, 2021. I mean, there's a lot of things I'm proud of as a Browns fan. That's one of them. 518-1410. We'll be back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 60. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of rain, a low near 32. And tomorrow's going to be mostly cloudy, a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Welcome to Allstate, where saving on your auto insurance is kind of like a joyride. You, your car, and an open road. Maybe your best friend, too. The music is chill, and so is the traffic. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Call me, Dave Mowdy, at 325-2474. That's 325-2474. Right across the street from Frisch's on East Main Street in Springfield. Based on coverage selected, savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about joint pain.
Trust me, I know about joint pain. Sure, I made it look easy, but if my body could speak, it would say, I'm in pain.
Are you living with chronic joint pain? Knees, hips, lower back, shoulders? Don't just assume the old treatments are the only treatments.
I've gone under the knife to get rid of pain, but now there are options, and you need to check them out.
Emmitt's talking about QC Kinetics, exciting new natural biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. New options now available here.
You can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics.
Real relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for regenerative restorative treatments with lasting relief.
But now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. QC Kinetics, 936-0325.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Tip off to frickin' madness. When we say tip off, not only are we talking about every college basketball game available, but our new barbecue rib tips only at Frickers. Delicious bite-sized barbecue rib tips with your choice of dipping sauce. Every game played to the march to the national championship and domestic draft personal pictures for only $6.50. Tip that personal picture. Tip off to the national championship of college basketball and frickin' barbecue rib tips at the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits. Frickers.
Family owned and operated for 3 generations. Call It Propane is proud to serve the greater Miami Valley. Let our family help protect your family from old man winter. Find out why 98% of our customers would recommend us to friends and family. Find us online at callitpropane.com or visit us in Xenia, Wilmington, or Lebanon. Call It Propane, proudly keeping the Miami Valley warm for over 65 years.
Ray Magliozzi here. eBay Motors has the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. And if there's one thing I love, it's great parts and great prices. eBay Motors, let's ride.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
NFL Combine going on right now, and it's interesting seeing all the reports come out of who the teams are looking at. You know, the purpose of the Combine is to look at everybody. How many times do we do the whole, man, can you believe how many teams passed on that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the purpose of the Combine is sometimes even if you're not interested, it's kind of like recruiting a little bit. Like, well, for like the Combine, like you got to go, coaches need to talk to every player there. Scouting departments need to talk to everybody there. Because if they pass on a star and whoever they draft ends up being a bust, they can at least go back and cover their ass and say, well, we talked to him and X, Y, and Z. Because what you don't want to have happen is find out there's a star in this draft that you didn't talk to or look at, and the team right behind you drafts that person, and it becomes a star.
Right.
We see it happen all the time. The Patrick Mahomes debate. How many teams passed on Patrick Mahomes? Cleveland was one of them. I mean, the Bengals were one of them. I think they're all right now. But, in fact, that quarterback they got now is 2-0 against Patrick Mahomes. I think 2-1 maybe, but 2-0 if I'm not mistaken. So either way, very interesting nonetheless. But Cincinnati quarterback Desmond Ridder was at the panel earlier today. And interesting, Kev, because I don't know if he did himself any favors here, but he says that Ryan Tannehill is the one quarterback that he sees himself being. He pointed to the ability to extend plays and manage the game. Wow. Do you have an agent, dude? Like, is he saying anything wrong? No. But we know Ridder. We know the Bearcats because of where we are.
Right.
If I lived anywhere else, I wouldn't give 2 rips about what's going on in Cincinnati and the Bearcats. I would not know this kid's name. And if I'm a fan of a team and my team drafts this kid and I go, oh, I'm curious about Desmond Ridder, and I go look up, oh, he sees himself as a great game manager, and he sees himself as Ryan Tannehill. Holy crap. Did you watch that Bengals playoff game? That's who Desmond Ridder sees himself as. Dude, you got to sell yourself better than that. Of all that, you just cost your shit. You might have had a flyer taken out on you in the second round. You may drop now. Kev, come on. I know you usually don't get bothered by these things, but you could understand why someone like me who likes to find an issue with everything.
Oh, I know why you love it.
But, like, why? Why would you do that to yourself? Like, he has no – if I'm a coach, I'm like, this kid has no confidence in himself. He sees himself as a great game manager and a Ryan Tannehill. He's a young Andy Dalton. Super. This is great. But I'm sure I'm making something out of nothing. But, right, like, he could have, like, maybe not have said that.
Yeah, but leave a name out. I don't even like when we do he's the next so-and-so. He plays like X, Y, and Z. If I'm a player at the Combine and they ask me to describe my game, I'm not talking player comp because that only sets you up for failure. Let's just say if he walks out there like, yeah, man, I see myself as Aaron Rodgers. Oh, you see yourself as a 4-time MVP, a Hall of Famer to be? Are you vaxxed? Like, you get that. Or in this case, yeah, man, I'm game manager like Ryan Tannehill. Brian Tannehill, like you just said, did you see those 4 interceptions he threw versus the Bengals? Just talk about what you're capable of doing. Talk about your ability to extend plays with your legs. Talk about your ability to read defenses. Talk about those things. Steer away from player comps because player comps can only get you in trouble. Let's, for goodness sakes, what he said, yeah, my arm is as strong as Jamarcus Russell. People ain't going to hear arm strong like Jamarcus Russell. All they're going to hear is Jamarcus Russell. Like, steer away from player comps. That would be my advice to any player out there going to the NBA Combine or the NFL Combine. Steer away from player comps. Just talk about what you can do.
Yeah, like when Baker was coming out and comparing, he did the Brett Favre, he reenacted the Brett Favre photo. That irritated me, and I like Baker, but that irritated me because now, like, instead of me just saying Baker's just Baker, and everyone's like, yeah, but he was supposed to be this, he was supposed to be that. You're right. Player comps are the worst things you could do. That's why everyone doing this stupid Tom Brady comparison with Joe Burrow. Stop it.
You call him the greatest quarterback of all time. Like, dude, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Like, Patrick Mahomes has won an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP, is the highest paid player in the league, has accomplished way more than anyone else in the league. And he's not the next Tom Brady. Or going with Joe Burrow. Like, come on, let Joe Burrow breathe a little bit. Like, I mean, that take came at him as hot as all the defensive players in the league. I mean, my God, just right there. It's like, holy crap, I didn't even have time to plan for that. Like, stop it. Like, Tom Brady, I don't think he's ever dressed as foolish as what Joe Burrow has. I'm just saying. Just call like I see it. 518-1410, by the way, we're with you live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. College basketball side of things. How about last night? So last week we had Joe Lunardi on. Joe Lunardi had come on the show and had said that the Dayton Flyers, he sees them on the trajectory heading towards the first 4 in Dayton, not having to travel far to play in the NCAA tournament. He had them on the bubble. I still think they're a bubble team. They're just like the last 4 out or what have you. I haven't refreshed his bracketology report. I'll have to do that. In fact, we're going to have on tomorrow's show, we'll have members of the first 4 committee, the Dayton Hoopla. They're the organizing committee that helps bring us the first 4 every year. So we're going to talk about some of the events that they have going on. But I don't think we're going to see Dayton in the first 4. I don't even know if we're going to see Dayton in the NCAA tournament now after that loss to LaSalle over the weekend. That was tough over the weekend with that loss to LaSalle. 16-point lead. They let it dwindle all the way down and ended up losing by 1. Not good. Mm-hmm. Down by 1, Anthony Grant draws up a play. And to be fair, I don't think he drew up a 3-point play, but the Dayton shot a 3 coming out of the timeout down by 1. Like that's just not good. Anthony Grant, I've been critical of over the years, and it's not just me. It's everybody that actually knows college basketball looks at Anthony Grant and knows that hell of a recruiter, hell of a man, hell of a person, but not the greatest coach at coaching in close game situations. So in typical Kinner fashion, okay, I haven't really tweeted anything about Dayton. If I tweet anything about Dayton, it usually gets me in trouble because it's, you only comment when they lose. That is a fair criticism of me. I need to do better on that. You are right. I do know that when I do tweet anything about UD in a positive light, it doesn't generate I don't get it. Like, no one cares what I have to say about Dayton. If I say something bad about Dayton, people get angry at me and come at me. If I say, UD looks great, nothing. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to waste my time tweeting about you. They have so many media members in this town that do nothing but cover them and do nothing but give them attention and do nothing but drool over them. They're fine. They're taken care of. I highly doubt that Anthony Grant and Neil Sullivan and those guys over there lose sleep at night because Justin Kinner wears a Wright State shirt almost every day on the show and gives them more coverage than UD. I do not think that they care in the slightest, Kev. So that's one reason. But it is fair criticism to call me out to say, I only hear from you when they lose. That is fair. So in typical Kinner fashion, Kev, remember the Bengals stuff last year? The Bengals won't make the playoffs. The Bengals won't win a divisional game. The Bengals won't Super Bowl. Yeah, whatever. After the LaSalle game, I haven't tweeted much about UD outside of the conversation I had with Joe Lunardi last week about the first 4 in Dayton. So I was irritated after watching the finish to the LaSalle Dayton game, even though I didn't get to watch it because the LaSalle high school coverage, the high school footage or whatever, the ESPN Plus feed, people were ripping ESPN Plus. Folks, that's LaSalle. LaSalle has no business being a college basketball program whatsoever. It's an absolute joke. I mean, it literally is. I mean, between the horrible gym, the program is garbage. The players aren't good. It's just not a good situation. So it looked like it was being filmed off of a cell phone. There was no score bug at the bottom, Kev. There was no broadcasters. It was just like someone was doing a Facebook Live of the game from the stands. I mean, it was bad. And there's high school in the area. Fairmont and some others have some great production crews in the area. There's some great high school. So that's disrespectful to say high school. It was that bad. It was like a mom sitting in the stands with her Facebook Live. So I didn't get to, it cut out. I didn't get to watch the final shot, but you check social media and holy crap, people lost their mind. So I tweeted out that as typical, as long as Anthony Grant's the head coach of the Dayton Flyers, they will continue to recruit great players. I have no doubt about that. But they need to blow teams out because as long as he's their head coach, they're not winning close games. They don't win a lot of close games. I know they have the buzzer beater, which, by the way, the buzzer beater over Kansas, that wasn't a play. That was a loose ball that was caught and drained, as far as that's concerned. So that is what it is. But it's okay. I know who that is. We're good. So I was critical of that, and that's a fair thing to be critical of. The numbers don't lie. I mean, his numbers as a head coach, whether it's at UD, whether it's at Alabama, whether it's at VCU, not good as far as close. He's not a good coach in crunch time situations because he's not good at drawing up plays, calling out of timeouts. I don't think he does a good job making adjustments or anything like that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So in typical Kinner fashion, I ripped the Bengals. They're not going to win they're not going to win a divisional game. They're not going to make the playoffs. What do they do to go to the Super Bowl? Kinner opens his mouth, tweets out, Anthony Grant, you're not going to win a lot of games with him as your head coach in close game situations because the numbers prove it. Well, what did they do last night, Kev? What did they do last night? They freaking win. 55-53. One possession win. Flyers win 55-53 on the road. Blakeney, RJ Blakeney gets that huge dunk out of bounds underneath. They lob it in and dunks with 1.8 seconds left, and the Flyers get the victory. Flyers get the victory. It was a close game the whole way through. It's 32-29 at the half. Final 55-53. 4 Flyers, hit double digits on the night. Kamara, who's back in the lineup, had 11. Malachi Smith, favorite Flyer right now. He's my favorite. I like Deron Holmes, but I'm a big, Mally Smith has been my favorite since the beginning of the season. Blakeney and Kobe Brea, they've improved so much in the beginning of the season to now. Both teams didn't really shoot the ball well. I mean, 38%. Richmond shot the ball 30. It was an ugly game. But like I said, Kevin, typical Kinner fashion, the second I open my mouth and being critical about Anthony Grant in close game situations, what happens? He draws up a play out of a timeout, perfectly executed. Flyers win, and there's Kinner with egg on his face again. I thought I had forgot what egg tastes like on my face after the Bengals Super Bowl appearance, and now here we are. Flyer fans, you should stop being mad at me when I'm critical of the team. I also said
I knew it was coming.
This is the same guy in me that that 20 season. They ain't that good. They're overrated. They ain't that good. They're number 3 team in the country. They're going to be number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Let me be critical. You should welcome it. In fact, if I'm praising your team, it's a kiss of death. The Browns are going to win 13 games this year. They were going to win the division this year. They were going to at least get to the AFC title game this year. Didn't make the playoffs and only didn't finish in last place because the Ravens were more banged up than they were. Guys, you should welcome the hate. You should
embrace it.
Yeah, embrace it, whatever it is. But stop getting mad at me for it. Stop getting mad at me for it. But I will say, I'm not wrong about Anthony Grant as far as, I think he's 20. I think now, if you consider a close game, which, he has a record above 500 in close game situations at Dayton. I think he's like 25-22 now in close game situations. He's 13-14. No, so he's 13-14 in his time at Dayton in one possession games. 13-14. So I think that means he's now 14-14 because I had these notes from the other day. Way too many coaching blunders down the stretch in these close games, So it is what it is. So his record at Alabama in those same close game situations, 29-34. Okay. The tape's right there. Well, someone said, I think a lot of coaches struggle in those close game situations. Well, Archie Miller at Dayton was 39-27. It is what it is. I'm just doubling down because so many people came at me and got mad about it. Anthony Grant's a great coach. Just because, and I need people to understand that just because you're critical of someone at a certain time does not mean that I'm calling for them to be fired or for them not to be the coach. Like, I don't know why everyone has to take credit. Like if I'm critical of Joe Burrow, oh, so who they're supposed to just cut him? I'm like, now who's being dramatic? Now who's being that? If I point out a flaw in somebody, I point out flaws in Baker Mayfield all the time. And yeah, I'm still here saying the Browns need to keep him at quarterback. It's just common sense. Like it drives me nuts, Kev. But yes, typical Kinner fashion. They win by one damn possession as Anthony Grant draws up the play, come out of bounds, coming out of a timeout, out of bounds underneath their own basket, a lob freaking pass. I mean, it was just perfect. So the Flyers get a big win. They got to win out. They got to win their conference tournament. That's their only way to get in at this point. I think they're good enough to do it, but they're good enough to do it more years than not, and they haven't done it in decades. I don't know if I'd put money on them winning the conference tournament, but if there's any chance of them dancing in March, it's really going to be that. They have to win their A-10 tournament.
Scrambled egg or sunny side up?
I used to hate I like dippy. But what is that? I don't even know when people say, well, they're like, what kind of eggs you want? You know, I sound like an idiot at restaurants more than just, they're like, oh, what kind of eggs you want? I'm like, the kind I could dip my toast in, like dippy. I'll just do a dippy egg. Is that the official term? Well, there you go. I like dippy. No, I'm serious. Like, I have no clue. I always freak out ordering for. They're like, what kind of eggs do you want? I'm like, I don't know. The kind I could dip my toast in.
Oh my goodness, man. Scrambled.
Oh my goodness. Is what it is. So, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call in and jump in on the conversation. But the Flyers get a big win. They didn't play well offense. I mean, both teams didn't shoot the ball well. You know, it is what it is. But like I said, I was critical of Anthony Grant, and in typical Kinner fashion, that's what ends up happening. So tomorrow, all right, tomorrow, the Wright State Raiders, the Horizon League tournament's already started. How about this? One of the big offseason news in college basketball, if you remember, the Milwaukee Panthers, that was a team that got that player that picked Milwaukee, and Pat Baldwin. So they had Pat Baldwin Jr., Mm-hmm. He was a top 10 player, ESPN top 10 player in the country. One of the best. He turned down Dayton. I'm sorry, he didn't turn down Dayton. I'm sorry, he turned down Duke. He turned down Duke and he turned down Kentucky to go play for his dad at Milwaukee at the Horizon League. And I was like, that's a huge thing. Like, that was such a big deal to me because I'm like, if he ends up going to Milwaukee and puts Milwaukee on the map, that's going to open the door for more of these top 100 players to give smaller schools an opportunity. I've always thought that if you were a player like a Pat Baldwin Jr., that if you get you can go to a Kentucky and play with 5 or 6 other Pat Baldwin Jr.'s. Mm-hmm. Now you'll get noticed. I mean, how many Kentucky guys? I mean, let's be the kid at Phoenix with the Suns, Booker. Booker came off the bench. He wasn't a starter at Kentucky.
Right.
I never watched him at Kentucky and thought that's a future all-star in the NBA. And he's one of the best, but he's an MVP candidate. Like, he's that damn good. Mm-hmm. So it's possible, but it's a lot easier to be noticed when you are the star on a team. When people go to watch a team and you're the guy they're going to watch, as opposed to being one of 5 or 6 guys going to watch and you kind of get lost in the shuffle. I've always thought I would love to see more of these top players go give these smaller schools a chance. So Antoine Davis is the leading scorer in college basketball this year. I think he might be in second now. I think he dropped to second last week. I think it was neck and neck or whatever. He's another one that's playing for his dad, Mike Davis. Mike Davis took Indiana to the Final Four many moons ago. Mike Davis doing an okay job at Detroit. I thought he would do a little bit better job just with the credibility and the name that he has. But he brought his son, Antoine Davis, to Detroit. Antoine's killed. He's the all-time leading scorer in the league. He set all the records you can imagine at Detroit. I mean, the kid's fantastic. He just plays at a different level. In fact, Wright State's done such a weird job with him. His career high is 48 points, Kev. He got that against Wright State. His career low is 10. He got that against Wright State. What a range.
Boxing one.
So, very good kid. So, Pat Baldwin Jr., when the news came out, I remember talking with Jeff Goodman about this and some other, college basketball analysts about this, of how huge this could be for college basketball, that people needed to root for Pat Baldwin Jr. at Milwaukee because if he goes there and it works and he's a lottery pick after 1 or 2 years playing at Milwaukee, that's going to allow other players to breathe a little bit and say, maybe we don't have to go to the big schools and blend in with everybody else. We can go make a name for ourselves with these small schools. Look at John Morant, for instance. Yes, he would have been noticed no matter what, but I think he got noticed even more because of the team he played on. Obi Toppin at Dayton. Obi Toppin no, it's not stirring the pot here. Obi Toppin plays at Kentucky. He's not getting the same shot attempts. He's not getting the same opportunities. He's not winning player of the year. He's not being drafted 8th overall. He's not being looked at the same, right? Like, he'll be drafted, but I don't think he'll be looked at as the same way, the national player of the year and all that stuff. I think that they're just, I'm always pulling for the small guys. I'm always pulling for the Obies at the Daytons. I'm always pulling for the John Morants of the world. I was really, the Antoine Davis at Detroit. Kay Felder played at Oakland many moons ago. Who's the most recent? Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah.
Kendrick Nunn. I watched him at the Nutter Center for many times. There's a lot of NBA guys that play in the Horizon League. So the Pat Baldwin Jr. experience, they got beat already. They're out. They're out of the tournament. Their season's done, just like that. Now, he had injuries all year, man. Like, it stinks. That hoping he comes back and has a chance to kind of build on that. But I was really pulling for that storyline, Kev. Like, because I'm like, man, if he goes there, you could prove you could make it. How about that? And another one. I'm sorry, I'm on a college basketball rant.
Go for it.
Dwayne Cohill played at UD, big time recruit. Everyone, it just didn't work out at UD. He transferred to Youngstown State. Youngstown State just played at Wright State this past weekend. Man, he's cocky, by the way. I'm not saying that with a negative. Like, I know that has a negative connotation to it. But if he had that same kind of arrogance and cockiness at UD, I think he would have survived a little longer there. I was watching a player. I remember I sit with Archdeacon and them up at the scores table or at the media area, and they're like, "That's Cohill." I'm like, "Yeah, he's the one that played at Dayton," and we were all talking about how we don't recognize his personality because he was just John, Kev. Like, maybe he did that in practice. Some UD fans or people at the score listening probably saying, "Oh no, that's how he was in practice too." We just didn't see that at games, right. But everyone was thrown off how cocky he was. But he was going at Coach Nagy at Wright State. I'm being told he was just being very mouthy over at the bench. He went up to Coach Scott Nagy at Wright State and said, "How much did you pay the officials?" Nagy just smiled and shook his head and walked away. And then he said, he goes, "I'm coming for y'all. I'm coming for y'all." Like, he thought they were going to, you haven't seen the last of me as far as that, like, as far as the running. Well, I'm happy to report that the guy who couldn't make it at UD and the guy who couldn't beat Wright State and the guy who said, "I'm coming for y'all," they lost. They lost. I know. I'm so mean. Anyways.
Oh, my goodness, Kenner, you're so petty.
I am.
What was the score?
For Youngstown, I didn't even know. I think they lost to Robert Morris. They didn't even lose to Robert Morris is not a good team. They lost to a bad team. Robert Morris was not good. So tomorrow night, Wright State I think it's a quarterfinal matchup again. And they have Oakland. That's a tough team. Jamal Cain is a big transfer from Marquette, I believe. I mean, he's one of the I think he's in running for the Horizon League Player of the Year. If you haven't been out to a Wright State game this year, this doesn't have to be a UD versus Wright State thing, but go to the Nutter Center tomorrow night. It's a conference tournament game, a chance to get to the semifinals in Indianapolis. Wright State has shared, they've gotten a share of the Horizon League title the last 4 years. This year they finished in second. So that, they just fell short or, they were the neck and neck. I mean, teams 1 through 5, it was all between one game or two or whatever. But they have Oakland tomorrow. That's a tough team. But this doesn't have to be a UD versus Wright State thing. I hate that every time I bring up Wright State, I have to be met with, no one goes to their games, no one this, no one that. Who cares? Like, stop with that. What are you trying to accomplish with that? Go to the Nutter Center. Cheer this team on. They have one hell of a team. They've had one hell of a program for quite some time. Coach Nagy is one of the best mid-major college basketball coaches in the entire country. In fact, I read something the other day, like his name is being brought up on a lot of rumor mills for some potential openings, like Illinois State and some others. I'm like, stay away. Yeah, just leave him alone. He's fine where he's at. But Grant Basile and Tanner Holden, like one of the top scorers in the country. Talking about Tanner Holden, of course, that kid averaging about 20 plus a game. He's fan-freaking-tastic. I'm telling you, it's a good product. It'll be a great game. They had a thriller on ESPN a few weeks ago when they were Wright State came back from double digits with like 6 minutes to go and was able to find a way to win that game. But I'm excited for that tomorrow. I'll be on the radio call for that one, actually. So I'm just plugging myself for that. So there you go. But a lot of great. This is my favorite time of year, man. Conference tournament time. Wright State wins tomorrow. They punch their ticket to Indianapolis to the semifinals and chance to get back to the NCAA tournament. They're averaging an NCAA tournament appearance a decade. So
it's about that time, eh?
Yeah, but I don't want them to make it early in the year and then just count out the rest, right? Like, hopefully they get back, man. They can get back. But there, I'm done. That was a long diatribe right there. But love UD, love Wright State, love college basketball. Ohio State goes down and loses at, Nebraska
lost like 3 or 4,
fire.
Right?
They've lost back-to-back home games. I mean, brutal. Brutal. Kev, I hogged the mic for the last 15 minutes. I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
I was on a roll. Maybe I should make you go on a vacation here in a few weeks, and then I could just hog all the mic time.
Oh, 3 weeks. I'm going on vacation.
Aye.
Little spring break.
So, anyways, but appreciate everyone who hung out with us today. Appreciate the ESPN's Jesse Rogers. Great stuff from him as well. Brian McCoy, he says it's okay to criticize UD and Anthony Grant. One of the biggest critics of Cincy baseball was Marty Brennaman. Had players and fans pissed on a daily basis. He could care less. Hall of Famer. Yeah, I've always said I'm just like Marty. Actually,
I tell you about player comps, man.
Yeah, the only thing Marty Brennaman and I have in common is our height. That's it. No, but I know what you're saying, but no, I will never compare what I do to what Marty Brennaman did. He's a legend, and I'm me. There you go. Kev, have a good night. Listeners, have a good night. We'll do this again tomorrow. Peace.
The Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 14.